Okay, hey guys, welcome to the live. Sorry, running late. Charmaine, I think she's having issues with her internet. And anyways, so yeah, so me and Aspen right now, and if Charmaine pops on, she'll pop on
Right.
over there. And let's see here. So you guys know we're going to be doing just a bunch of case updates to do. I don't know about seven different cases, I think, just to go over them and give you guys some updates on there.
Right.
Well, hello, StreamYard. How are you? It's Crime and Shame. Jenny's in the house. Sharon Parker. Hey, Sharon Parker. I seen your message about something about different account or something like that.
Right. And hey, Sharon Parker, really quickly, I know Sonny mentioned this yesterday or the day before, but I'm sorry that is happening to you, but we have no control over it, nor can we see it or know what's happening. So the best bet I can tell you is to contact YouTube if you've been, if you were gifted a membership yet you were still charged for one. I mean, if you're worried about it, I mean, I personally would probably let the month go by and see what happens. But
well, she's saying that she's on a different account on her iPad.
Okay, well,
So
so you can contact YouTube, but we have no way to do anything about that or even look at it. So I apologize.
Okay, so it seems like I don't. Do we give therapy right now or wait?
Well, and Sharon, you can contact them. I think, gosh, if you're on your YouTube account, you should be able to hit like help, or just Google contact YouTube.
Yeah.
But so yeah, marriage help?
So, well, I was gonna say, you know what? I mean, I really do want to have another channel. I was talking to husband about this,
Oh, I know.
just like with talking about, just our lives or
Same.
other people in chat talking about their lives.
I have not had it. I mean, I was in a 13-year long relationship. Now I've not been on a date in 3 years. So
Exactly.
who better to give relationship advice than me? I was like, hey, I've been in a 13-year long relationship. Now I'm single. Oh, I'll get into true crime.
Yeah.
That did a lot to help me.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm literally like this is my third marriage, right? First one was 11 years, 17 years. So this one's 9 years, going strong. We'll see how it goes. Anyways, Lacey, if there's anyone that understands.
Lacey, and I'm sorry that you're having
I was gonna say
a bad day.
Yeah.
We're all here to talk about true crime, so I don't want to take up too much time. But Lacey, we love you.
And vent it out in the chat if you want.
We've all got, I think the majority of us that have had failed relationships can completely understand what you may be going through. I hope that you can work things out if you're supposed to be able to. But we're here for you and we love you.
Well, I was going to say, Lacey, like I said, I'm so sorry that you're having a bad day, night, year, whatever it's been. Either way, if you feel like venting it out in the chat just for some support or whatever and stuff like that, feel free to. If not, that's okay as well. But feel free to. Again, we're like a family here. So obviously we care, to see you say something like that, just like whenever somebody has health issues going on, aka Sharon Parker, Miranda Lee, etc., etc. There's like a lot, Metal Michelle Mama, but anyways, biggest hugs, love you. And yeah, so whatever information you want to share in the chat, feel free. If you don't, feel free as well. Okay, guys.
Just know you're not alone when you're here. We love you.
Oh shoot! Now you got a song going through my head. You're not alone. Yeah. Anyways, love you, girly. Okay. Yeah. So that's a bummer for you.
Yeah.
Now tonight, like I said, we're gonna get into a bunch of cases, and if at the end of the live, if Lacey decides to open up, we can spend some time, talking with Lacey there. That's why I love it here. You don't ignore me, and I feel supported. Thanks, Jenny, and that. I know, like I said, I know that um, here for, like I said, there's always like a certain amount of people, especially when we don't talk about Delphi. Okay, Delphi, no matter what, will get views and clicks. If we talk about that stuff. Um, there's always this main core of people that even when we do all these other different topics that support us. So there she is. Hey, Charmaine.
Charmaine, can we test your mic real quick? Are you talking, Charmaine?
She's not talking. She froze. Oh, she's saying, hold on. I just got to put this up a little bit. Bring Charmaine just up a little bit here. On there. Charmaine, are you talking? I think she's talking. Her mic's not muted, though. Yeah. Oh, she's trying to figure it out, I think.
Charmaine, just come in on your phone or your iPad.
She might have to. Okay. Okay, well, we'll let Charmaine fix her issues on there. And so obviously I think it's her audio isn't, coming up or whatever. But okay, so
I think she probably saw Little Gambler in chat and she did.
Is that, you think that's what happened? There she is. Okay. Yeah. Love you, girly. My heart goes out to you. I don't know what exactly is going on, but I mean,
well, I mean, not to make light of it, but if her husband caught wind of me,
divorce right there.
Right. Godspeed, sir.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So hopefully at some point, I mean, let's just put it this way. Life is the biggest roller coaster. Sometimes you go through really big, ups and downs in it, and sometimes they're just little ones. The big ones kind of suck, but it's one of those things. It is what it is. Life is what it is.
Yeah,
is what it is.
So, Sunny, what are we talking about tonight?
Okay, so we're going to start off with Sebastian. Sebastian, of course, he's the 15-year-old that's missing out of the Sumner County there, and has autism, and they're on their what? Is it day 3 or day 4 for his search?
Sunday. So I saw. It's funny because I saw this case on Sunday, that night, and there was not an Amber Alert yet. The Amber Alert wasn't issued until yesterday, I believe, because of the storms that were going through Tennessee. They appropriate to issue an Amber Alert at that time. And I mentioned this in your live yesterday. I think it was yesterday you did a live on this.
Yeah.
But when I saw this case, I honestly, I felt like, he ran off on his own probably.
Tennessee.
And it gave me, I don't think the parents had any part in this, but it gave me flashbacks to Scotty Morris. Which I covered that case pretty intensely.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of the reasons I didn't share this case right away, because I was like, you know what? I think this kid's going to be found. It's sad, but you know what? I think he's probably just run off. He's going to be found. And now 3 days have gone by, almost 4. And now there's been an Amber Alert issued. And this poor boy, he's just, my heart just breaks for this family.
Exactly. And Scotty Morris, if anyone doesn't remember, that's the one where the mother put him in this T-shirt, and basically he ran away from home. I believe he stayed in a friend's house because they were on vacation.
Yeah, and then they found him in a railroad car.
Yeah,
or a rail car.
On there. So, okay, so let's play this. We'll get this one off. Let's see. I think we're right here. So we'll make this. Is it bigger? No, that's smaller. Okay.
Let's see if Charmaine, real quick.
Yeah, Charmaine, how's your audio, Charmaine?
Am I working? Okay.
Are you through your iPad or your phone?
This is my phone. I just tried using my laptop, but there's no.
Sound?
Well, because I have my podcast microphone hooked up to my computer, so um, but my laptop only has one USB, so I can't
Okay.
hook it up to that. And
Mm.
I went to go like redo everything, and I plugged my computer in because my dogs are my dogs, and it exploded. Like I had a little mini
Oh,
fire in here.
well. But well, you're. I mean, you're good now. I mean, so as long as it's okay with you, this works great for us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Um,
I'm good to go.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd prefer that we could see you and that you weren't speaking in French, but I mean, it is what it is.
I'm just seeing if I can. Oh shit, I can't. I'm gonna go on YouTube. I'll mute it just so that I can see chat.
Oh, okay.
But because I
Okay.
mean, I could on my phone, but then I wouldn't be able to see
Well,
you guys.
we're
So
just about to play a Sebastian video, so you can
okay,
play around with it while we're playing that.
okay,
Yeah.
sounds good.
Cool.
Intensifies for Sumner County teen Sebastian Rogers, who has autism. He was last seen on Sunday. So there is an Amber Alert that is active for him right now. Our WSMV4's Jordan James is joining us live with the latest developments this morning and what police want you folks to know. Hey, good morning to you, Jordan.
Good morning, Holly. In the last few minutes, rescue crews have started to arrive here at the command site as they gear up for another day of searching for Sebastian. We're talking crews from across the state. They have been focusing specifically on the area around his house in a 5-mile radius. Now, Sumner County Sheriff's Office say that they have been following up on a number of tips, but at this point, none of them have panned out. In an effort to try to reach the 15-year-old, they have been playing his favorite song, Eye of the Tiger, to try to lure him out wherever he could possibly be. Sebastian is also the focus of a statewide Amber Alert and is currently off his medicine, which they believe could have a negative impact on his health. And at this time, investigators say they have not had any indications of foul play in this particular case and say that his family members have been cooperating. And for those of you at home who would like to help out, they say the best thing you can do is to review your surveillance footage and check the area around your property. For now, reporting here live in Sumner County, Jordan James, WSMV4.
1 second. I just want to go to this other one here.
Right. I was like, hey, Jordan.
Hey,
Jordan James.
I just seen Sleuthy Goosey post something. Have you been paying or paying attention to this Madeline Soto case?
I know the name. Wait.
Let's see here. Major development in the 13-year-old Madeline Soto. Oh man, I just want to see what it says. It says that somebody's been arrested. Oh, okay. I remember that face. It's been a while. Anyway, somebody's been arrested for hers. Now, let me go. Okay, I'm going to go right here to this one. I'm going to start it here. Come on now.
Involved with the search for that 15-year-old. I'm just curious, when it goes out in the bolo, and as it is now, it's going on its third day of not finding this child. And the child, in my belief, could still, as an autistic child, be hiding somewhere, still be fearful. You always wonder at what point in the game, the consideration of maybe some type of foul play, which they have not said is the case yet. But do you ever have, if a neighboring county, when this happens, is there any involvement? And I'm sure the police department, the sheriff's office here, are you even aware of this? Would you have any contact with the sheriff there? Like, well, we can keep our eye out here in Davidson County. I mean, Have you heard any?
Okay, so make sure you listen to this part right here, because this part I didn't know most people didn't know. So just listen to this part, what this sheriff guy says.
Anything at this point on this?
It's a good question. A couple things. One that you would want to know: the birth father of this child works for us in this situation. Now, I don't know the relationship. There's a lot of conversation about that, but he is an officer with us, been here a year or so.
That's the birth
That's not
father.
information from him coming to us. We understand that that's the case. We always get asked to participate and help in these types of situations, some version of it. It could be, will you assist in helping? We have 2 staff members who work for us who have, in their private life, they have dogs that search. And so they go out, volunteer their time. They've been up there the whole time helping on their own. But we have to be really careful because it's their private dog. It's not the sheriff's office stuff, but they volunteer and doing that. We have other folks in our special operations response teams who go out and volunteer their time and help. Where it gets a little weird is and it's usually through the Office of Emergency Management for Davidson County. It's also working with Sumner County. That's how we get connected to it. Where we have some issues is, and this sounds real petty, but sending people who are getting paid to do a job here over into other counties and do it. So it's I hate to say it, it's almost a volunteer situation.
Okay.
Because we don't have the
But
equipment.
you're kind of a camaraderie, the fraternity. You help each other when you can.
Right. And
they volunteer, I bet. They do so.
Right. And we would even do some where you're on the clock doing it. It just always is a weird deal because what happens if it's, Murray County? What happens if you just keep going? And so we've had this conversation. We've had some people up there volunteering. We have some other folks who are kind of in wait to do certain things, but it's just a show of force. It's extra eyes and ears. I mean, we don't have any special skills that would help you in any way, but we usually work through OEM, who is working through OEM out of Sumner County, and I think just like you, it's a scary situation each day that goes by and you don't see something.
And it's interesting you would say this. Our understanding was that the boy's biological parents are separated or no longer married, and I think his mother may have remarried, and he may have a stepbrother now along those lines. Just with regard, and that is interesting that he happens to be a deputy, or is he at this point? I can imagine. Have you talked with him? Is he off now, helping over there? How is he handling this?
Yeah, I haven't talked to him or about him. It came to me yesterday, the day before, I guess, that the biological father is an officer with us, but and I think he's been here about a year or so. But other than that, I don't know much of the relationship. And again.
Would he take time off? Would you give him time off?
Sure. I mean, he and I would assume if again, this is a weird situation because it's not him saying, "Hey, I need off. My son is missing." That's not happened yet that I know of. But and we have 1,000 employees, so it's a little hard for us to even know that. We have a woman who handles our retention, basically works with people who are going through all sorts of issues, and she did put it out. I understand yesterday to our some of our folks to let them know that he is actually the biological father. So that was all brewing yesterday. We had folks who were up there, like I said, with their dogs. We've had other folks who are kind of in crews or that are potentially going to help. It just kind of depends on what we're doing, what we're looking for. And we always get in the situation of, are we on the clock paying people to go on our teams, or are we doing volunteer work? And it's just kind of, if it's in the county, usually it's on the payroll. It just gets a little hairy as to, and we're short staffed, and we're paying overtime here to send people up there. And it's just hard to decide exactly what's the right thing to do. You want to be a good Samaritan, you want to help. And we do a lot of that, but it would be wrong for me to sit here and say we send people every time someone's missing. We kind of wait and see what our roles need to be. And, Amber Alert stuff was going off.
Damn, he sounds like 1.5.
We are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us. Davidson County Sheriff Darren Hall's with us. We're going to get to your phone calls in a moment. I just had one quick follow-up question with regard to this missing child in Sumner County. You've handled in the past, or your office has, and your deputies, missing children cases, along probably in partnership with the police department. What is it, and how do you approach it, with a period of time? Right now, the thinking is this child, autistic, perhaps wandered away. But as more time passes, when do you start considering the possibility of other options?
Yeah, and I don't have expertise.
Again, general. I know you're not involved in Sumner.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking back as we were waiting to come back on, but I remember, this is a long time ago, I remember our staff going out searching for Janet March's body. And I'm just going through stories back, and of course the silver alerts. You have a lot of different times where there's people that I think personally that always worries me when you have someone who is very elderly who may not know exactly how to get back, and very unlikely that foul play is in that situation as much as it is just worry that they're lost and can't get. In the children thing, to me, 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. How can this individual be, alive and functioning, at some stage of just the natural needs for an individual, and so. I guess I always think of it this way. It's just extra sets of eyes, bodies, walking, talking, asking in the streets. Our staff, just like everyone else, would like to volunteer and help. That's what we do. We're usually a part of a large team sweeping areas. And, but again, look how big an area. And if you don't have some idea where you're looking in some simple version of what you're doing, it's incredibly difficult to find.
And entirely possible that the child could have wandered. But I'm just wondering, to me, and in my career following this, I just don't believe that a child completely vanishes without a trace and is never found. Okay, meaning on their own. And that's my take, is that the longer, and I'm not referring to the Sumner case, it's still early enough that I don't go there. But I'm telling you, if there's no trace of this child found in a week, or even this time next week, I will have serious questions about whether or not foul play was involved. Because even if the child is not alive, eventually maybe you find, oh my gosh, wandered into the body of water. We found his body. Oh, how tragic. And you pull him, he wandered in there. Or he fell down a ravine and killed himself, or something like that. But short of finding anything, that's why I think someone was involved to hide a situation.
Well, right. I mean, at some point, you know, I'm like you. I don't understand how someone, you know, that is not sophisticated, and I'm talking about in living, you know, in a survivalist or something like that. I mean, that's not the case. I mean, how are you going to live, and where are you going to live in today's world where, you know, I don't believe you'd have the skills to accomplish that. Therefore, something tragic or bad is going to happen, or it feels like it as the days go by. And I'm like you would think the body would be found if it was a fall or some tragic event in a reasonable area around the house. That's not hard to do. Once that is exhausted, then you have to go to, I think, the next step, which is foul play, and the body is potentially hidden or gone. And I'm, you know, I'm just like everyone else. I mean, I can't fathom what that feels like if you genuinely don't know what happened to your child. I just can't imagine what that would feel like. On the other hand, you know, it'd be very difficult for me to see a 15-year-old child be able to pull off hiding from people for extended period of time. That's just a very unlikely situation. But you know, I wish and hope for the best. I'm like you. I watch these stories with kind of a parental eye, and then some part of the job I'm in, and then just a citizen who you're sitting there going, man, what in the world?
And when you do go to the idea of foul play, I guess, and I've talked about this in the past, say with the Joe Clyde Daniels case, which in some ways is similar, he was a much younger child, but that what you'll do when you make that transition to maybe looking into the possibility of foul play is then you vet anyone close to, from the parents to the neighbors, to a friends, to the possibility that somehow, some way that there is a stranger that may be picked up. That's what it is. All options are on the table, correct?
I would say yes. I think the other thing about that is that begins to take a long time. I mean, a lot of these cases are years. I mean, look at some of this to solve. Once it becomes potential criminal activity, everything changes. I mean, it is trying to prove and trying to get interviews and trying to get, you know, it's years and years. I mean, sometimes before all that, and that's what right now is trying.
We'll leave that one where it is. So as for Sebastian's case here, you know, I don't know. I don't know really what to think, to be honest with you.
Oh, I know. I just hope they can find him, because it's been storming so bad in Tennessee the last 2 days. And tonight, the temperature is down in the 30s in Tennessee. And we know that he's scared of the dark. And so I hope that they can find him. Someone asked, I'm not sure who it was. I think it was Miranda Lee, asked about can someone be diagnosed? Wait, I want to find it.
At 3 years old.
At 3 years old, yeah. The average, it's different. The average age of a diagnosis of autism is 2 years old, and that's usually with boys more than girls. But the average age of a diagnosis is 2 years old. So it's not everyone. You know, autism is one of those things because it's a spectrum that it affects everyone differently, and it affects a lot of people at different times in different ways. And I'm by no means a medical expert, even though Charmaine did refer to me as almost a doctor earlier. But the average age of a diagnosis is 2 years old.
Okay. Charmaine, somebody asked how your daughter's doing. How's your daughter doing?
So she's doing good. She's much better today. So they found she has a perforated bladder. So this is what's causing her problems. She's 1.5 centimeters dilated, but they managed to stop the contractions. I don't know how gross you guys want to get me, but she lost a piece of the plug.
Okay.
But there was no blood or anything like that. So she's still under watchful eye. Tomorrow she's going to be hooked up to tomorrow she's having an ultrasound. The baby is still high up and breech. So if anything does happen, they're going to hold off, obviously, as long as they can, but she'll be having a C-section if she can't hold off until she's full term. But She's doing much better. The morphine wore off, so she was thinking clearly today and a lot more calm. So
She's at home still,
So-
right?
yeah, you bet. She went home. She's a 2-minute drive from the hospital, so they allowed her to go home.
Yeah.
Charmaine, so, you know, I think the words you just used are a perfect example of why no one can ever argue that women are stronger than men.
Yeah.
Because the words perforated bladder never are something that a man could survive.
Right. Right.
Heck, it's
Like-
bad enough when they survive a cold.
I mean, survive, Sonny. I mean, touch and go the whole time.
Right.
But no, not to make light of it, but I feel so sorry for your daughter. But what are your thoughts if she goes into labor tomorrow? Is she yay or nay about a leap year baby?
I think that she's neither here nor there as long as she's healthy.
Because she's
She
got
actually,
a perforated bladder and she's in excruciating pain.
that's right. She's like, it is what it is. Just do it right to make, hopefully everything. I mean, I'm sure everything is fine because the baby does measure large for her, for how far along she is. So I think that she's good. Right now she just today she's 7 weeks away
That's what I was going to say. It's 7
from her
weeks.
due week.
Which is, that's this day and age, that's safe.
Yeah.
Mhm. And if you saw my Facebook, you saw pictures of her the weekend before last. So she's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
healthy. She's very large.
I don't follow you.
She's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okie
But-
dokie.
So, well,
yeah.
hey, maybe you'll have a leap year grandbaby, and you'll
Maybe.
only have to buy it a present once every 4 years.
Oh,
Right.
that'll never happen. I buy too much as it is, but
I'm fine.
But that-
Right.
I mean, something to look forward to. Whatever. I'm
Yeah.
glad she's okay. And like I told her, like there's more to this than just the baby, right? I want to make sure my daughter is good, and
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
But
And
so far, so
I
good.
hope her husband is she married?
She is, yeah.
I hope her husband is not being a little bitch about the whole thing too.
No, he's one of the last old
Sweet.
school good men who's 32 years old. Like this kid blows my mind all the
Good.
time. He's so sweet to her, and he's such a good man and good provider. He's a good dad. He's just an excellent human being. So she's in good hands down there. Yeah.
Yeah. I was saying to my husband last night, actually, I was like, husband, do you remember when I was in the hospital? Because my husband, too, was like, he's 33 now, but he was so amazing. Honestly, he was, I had to get rushed to the Saskatchewan hospital for, I want to call it an operation, but I wasn't put out. But anyways, when I came back to Lloydminster, first of all, if you ever want to get sick, go to the Lloydminster Hospital, because honestly, you get fed like a freaking king or queen. I'm not kidding you. Like the food is like going to pretty much like a 5-star restaurant. It was so awesome. But anyways, my husband was working between the hotel and the hotel. It's 24/7, right? And coming to the hospital, and like he was just there like every single minute. I mean, he was exhausted beyond belief. But honestly, I'll never forget that, because it was so heartwarming watching him, how much he just loved me and cared about making sure that I was okay, and coming to visit me. Like he didn't want to go. Finally, I was just like, look, the hotel's right across the street. Go, like, look, I can, talk to you on Messenger or whatever. But anyways, so that, I was going to say, my husband's young too, and he reminds me of that. One of those he's an old soul, last man standing type of thing. They're few and far in between,
They
Like,
really
honestly.
are, and I'm finding even, and this isn't like a relationship or Charmaine single and lonely dig or anything, but I'm finding even a lot of the men my generation, they don't think and do the things that the old school guys did. You know what I mean? Like there's no holding the door open, and I'm not saying I want to. I am not a feminist whatsoever.
I get it though. Mm-hmm.
But You know what I mean? And he's just a good guy. Like, he goes to work and then he comes home and he's completely renovating their house. He helps with the kids. Like, he's
Yeah,
just
he's
he's
a
a
good one.
really good dude.
Good
Yeah.
apple.
Yeah.
Hmm. There's not, and honestly, like I said, there's not a ton of them. Like
No.
they're few and far and in between to have a really good one.
Mhm.
Charmaine, I would always hold the door open for you, but if I were to do that, who would hold it open for me?
That's right. Exactly.
You.
And my thing is, we can hold it open for each other. There's such a thing as, like I said, I am not a feminist at all. Like,
Weird.
whoever invented the woman going to work full time,
Well, I
that
figured at your
person,
age I'd have to hold it open for your walker.
pretty much. Pretty much. That's all I ask. And take the garbage out. That's all.
Uh, okay, well, let's get back on course, guys.
Yeah,
Because
okay,
we
let's
got,
go.
got only because we got quite a bit to go through here.
We do.
So Elijah's case, you guys, obviously Elijah Vu. They're still looking for Elijah. I'll play you this little clip again. It's a couple minutes, 3 minutes and 11 seconds. There's nothing new. Like the mom's in jail, the boyfriend's in jail. The dad of Elijah, he's in prison till like 2040.
Right.
The mom, sent him over to boyfriend's house, Jesse Vang, for proper discipline. Oh,
Right.
whatever.
Because he's got to teach him how to be a man at
Oh, of course,
at
that's
3 years old.
It's so pathetic.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm still beside myself after having read the PCA for that disgusting POS about how it made him stand by the bed. Oh, I fell asleep because he was standing by the bed praying because he had to learn how to be a man.
Yeah, and you know that they're just full of shit. Okay,
Right.
there's probably no good outcome for this child. It will be like a freaking Hail Mary, for this child to be alive still.
And like we've been saying, like, this stuff that he's admitted to, he doesn't see anything wrong with it. So imagine what he did that we don't know.
Yeah,
Right.
kind of reminds you of Frankie there, with the mentality of the way some of these people think. But anyway, let me play this clip, guys.
Yeah, and really quickly before you do that, I do
Okay.
want to say you don't have to be a feminist to expect someone to treat you with respect.
That's right.
Oh,
Sorry.
hey, Rochelle. No, I see Rochelle's in the house. Yeah, don't think so at all, Rochelle. At all. Yeah. Good read, Rochelle, on Laken. She put out, I think it was a video. I don't know if it's called an auto write or whatever. I'm not sure what term, but anyways, it was crazy when she was talking about the Rachel Morin case, and then she put this.
And her picture, I mean, had she made the picture smiling, it would have looked very similar to Laken. So good job, Rochelle.
Yeah, it's what she calls interconnects.
Yeah.
When one case is happening, it's kind of like the same thing as when a medium is giving a read, and it might apply to this person as well, or this person, because it's kind of like interconnected. So it's like, as she's covering the Rachel Morin case, then there's this interconnect of this case that all of a sudden comes to light, which is the Lake and Riley one. And yeah, anyways, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It was actually quite eerie listening to it, to be honest with you. And I was just like, good on you, Rochelle. Sadly for Laken, she was murdered, obviously, but
Two Rivers was reported missing.
1 second.
An Amber Alert is still in effect for him. Emily Roberts is live in Greenleaf this morning in Brown County, where the community continues to search for Elijah. Emily.
Oh, thanks, Charmaine.
Catherine, about a dozen people are combing through the woods and brush here at Waymore County Park, crossing their fingers, hoping they find any sign of Elijah. Groups meeting at Mikado Theater in Manitowoc before branching out, splitting up across county lines. Definitely a large search today. This is all arranged by Elijah's family. A few examples of where people are right now: Collins Marsh, Cato Falls Park. Julia Fanilla is one of the people looking at Waymore County Park right right now. She says this is her first time joining a search party.
Because he's a little boy that's missing. I don't work. I couldn't think of a more important place to be. I'm hoping that he gets found, and I'm hoping that that he's just malnourished and cold.
Look at this. You can join in on the search to help find Elijah. His family members sharing this information online. You might want to take a picture of your screen. People are welcome to meet at the Mikado Theater at 1118 Washington Street in Manitowoc at any point between now and 4 today. His family is taking a break tomorrow to rest and recharge and come back stronger Thursday morning. So you can see the times for the rest of the week on your screen now. Our Action 2 News team is going to first let you know if any of this changes or if we hear about any other coordinated searches. And a very important reminder, police say scammers are taking advantage of this heartbreaking situation to get people's money and personal information. So Two Rivers Police want to remind you that any donations should be made directly to City Hall, the police department, or anyone else that is actually directly confirmed by the Vu family, Elijah's family. Live in Two Rivers, Emily Roberts, Action 2 News.
Emily, thank you. We're also learning more after Elijah's mother, Katrina Bauer, and her boyfriend, Jesse Vang, appeared in Manitowoc County Court Monday. Both are now officially charged with child neglect. The criminal complaint says Bauer sent her 3-year-old son to stay with her boyfriend in Two Rivers to, quote, teach him how to be a man. Officials say Vang made Elijah stand for up to 3 hours while either praying or repeating the words, "I'm sorry, mommy." Authorities say if Elijah failed, Vang would threaten him with cold water.
Yeah,
Bauer
because
and
he
Vang are
looks like a
facing
man.
3.5 years in prison if convicted. They're due back in court for a preliminary hearing next week. Elijah's biological father has been in prison since 2023 and will remain there until 2040. We want to show you Elijah's picture once again. Manitowoc County Crime Stoppers is offering a reward of up to $1,000 for information that leads to Elijah. Call that number on your screen if you have any information.
Look at it, how chapped that little boy's lips are. Can you see
Oh,
that, Sunny,
yeah.
in that picture? I mean,
Mhm.
look. I mean, and that's the picture they chose to use. I mean, that little boy's lips are chapped. Can you imagine how painful? Look at all the cracks in that little boy's lips.
Yeah. Oh, I can see it in this picture for sure.
Ugh,
I hate chocolates. Can't stand it. 1 second. Let me just quickly go. Charmaine gifted 5 memberships. Thanks, Charmaine. I was on a different page when she did that, but then I just want to. So Phil Bond, Missing Unsolved Crime, Daniel K, Bonnie Brown, and Tina Marina were gifted those memberships. So make sure if you're in here that you thank Charmaine for that. Charmaine,
You're welcome.
I feel like you're my cookie. You're my membership cookie.
He's got iron deficient little like lines under his eyes, and those cracked lips show dehydration, and just, I mean, that's not a healthy 3-year-old boy.
No.
It breaks my heart. And that's the picture they chose to use for him. And I'm assuming, I assume the family, whoever from the family had to pick from pictures of what he looks like, and this is the best picture they could come up with.
It's so
Is
sad.
this little boy with these little iron deficient eyes and cracked lips?
Yeah, I know. It's so funny. I want to say something. Only because when I clicked on this message right here, whenever I feel something myself, like my own personal thing, I always get like a shiver or like a shiver through my body. And as soon as I clicked on this particular message, twice, it literally just shot right down my body again. I do not believe this child is alive either. And it's just so heartbreaking. I would adopt this child in a second. He's just so precious and he's so cute. Sorry, Adam, I cut you off there.
No, you didn't cut me off, but I agree with you 100%. I mean, you look at, how many cases do we cover where these little innocent human beings aren't given a fair chance in life because of the piece of shit parents they come into the world with. I mean, Harmony Montgomery, Elijah, Audrii probably. I just, and there are so many people out there that would make incredible parents that can't have children, or aren't allowed to, or for whatever reason. But it just breaks my heart that this boy could have had a loving life, and he just, hopefully he's out there, but so far he hasn't been given that opportunity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, this will be definitely, like I said, a hail miracle if this child is found alive. I'm just not seeing it at all. The children, these ones, the baby cases, have most times it's never good. It's never good.
Right.
Whereas a teenager that's missing, that's an adult, like a teenager, most of those cases are just simply runaways. Thank goodness. But it's
like Quentin is another one that is still missing. That's a horribly sad one. But it is different when it's like a Kylie Rodney, who, even though it's tragic what happened to her, there's a difference between 3-year-old and 17 years old.
Well, because they completely depend on these parents for everything in their life, and
they weren't even given a chance.
Just terrible.
Yeah, and it does. I think we talked about this the other night.
Yeah, you're right. Quentin was found.
Yeah. But it just reminds you of that case, and this is so hard. We cover it because it's about bringing awareness and bringing you guys up to date with what's going on and stuff like that. Like I said, as a mother, I am internally, I feel so much rage for these pieces of shit. And there's tons out there. There's just millions out there right now that are in probably a similar situation of being abused, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's all day long.
Amaya Robinson.
Who?
Amaya Robinson.
Oh, yes.
She's never been found.
Psychic sleuth Rochelle, she's saying that her son's name is Elijah as well. And you know how it is too. It's like if I see the name Matthew or something like that, it's hard. But Elijah, I think Elijah is kind of somewhat a common name, but it's more isn't it more like a biblical name? Elijah.
Well, yeah, it's a biblical name, but it's an older Elijah. It's gained a lot of popularity in the last couple of years in popular culture again.
Yeah. Well, actually, when I seen the name Elijah, instantly I went back in time because it reminded me of an older name in a sense.
Right.
That I personally don't hear that often, but by the same token, I do as well. Anyways, it's just yes, he was a prophet. Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say, anyways, Charmaine, do you have anything that you wanted to say? And again, thank you for those gifted memberships to those people that got them out there.
Yeah, no, I don't really have anything to add to this one. I hope he's found safe. I just, it's probably not going to be good. Charmaine's having a little bit of problem with her power tonight. I thought it was just an internet issue, but
that purple light looks really good.
Wow.
I was gonna say
my phone is on low power mode now.
Yeah. It's almost like you got this pink hue vibe mystic thing going on.
What was the character in Willy Wonka that ate all the blueberries?
Okay.
Oh, boy.
I was gonna say we're gonna just because we have more case to talk about. So again, prayers for this beautiful boy. Regardless, hopefully he's found alive. But let's say he isn't. Hopefully, regardless, he's found soon. And as for the story from from Jesse Vang and the mother, it's shut the fuck up. Seriously, that's how I feel. It's when you okay, I feel like he admitted to partial truths, but there's a lot more to what they did to this child. And I see them both as being big pieces of shits. He has a lengthy record Oh God, when the judge was reading that, or the lawyer was reading that off, I'm just like, oh, like, is she going to stop soon? Seriously. Reminding almost me of that Stephen McDougal, when they just, and a
Right.
couple of them
And
work to do with children.
and just try and I was zoomed in trying to read the birth mother's body language during that hearing, and I'm no expert, of course, but I mean, I I you get deceived to think that you have a little bit of an education towards these things, like after we've talked to so many people like Alexa and other profilers and body language experts. And then I was watching her, like, and I'm like, oh, she knows more. Oh, she knows more. She's she's looking down, she's doing different things, and I'm like, every little reaction she had I was trying to analyze, and I'm like, this chick knows what happened to that little
Plus,
boy.
she lied. She literally lied, saying that she wasn't in.
I wasn't around that day or the next day.
And so, like I said, if you have nothing, if you're telling the truth, telling the truth is easy. If you got something to hide, and you lie about it, obviously because you got something to hide.
That's
So
why I don't lie, because I can't remember how to cover this
Same.
stuff up.
To be honest with you, I mean, that's probably one of the main reasons, because I don't want to have to go try to ever think about what I said, like if I said something hypocritical, different story. Because you say something here and then and maybe different.
Ivy Rose one time said, "Oh, well, you said this on a live," and I was like, "I did."
Yeah.
I was like, I was like, "Can you help me find it?" Because
Hey, Travis.
and it was a miscommunication, but I was like, okay, but I was like, I don't say things that I don't that aren't true.
Well, I was going to say, I normally, like I said, my old brain would have caught on to what Ivy is, but she still has the younger brain where it's like I would remember whenever somebody would say something and it was different than what they said, I would always remember. And it's almost like my brain took me back, like a photographic type memory thing, where my brain would take me back exactly to what they said before, because it comes off as a red alert up there. Nowadays, now I'm like, I think you said that. Oh God, I'd have to go back and look, type of thing. Anyways, hey Travis, welcome to the live. Okay, so let's see what we want to do next. I think we'll go over.
You want to do Rust?
Let's do Rust quickly. Watch. I got.
Good, because I wanted to. I need to break him. I'll be right back.
Smarty pants. Okay. Wait, can you guys see this on screen? Am I showing it? Oh, no, I'm not. There we go. Thought I was showing it. So this is, of course, Hannah Gutierrez. I think this is like her second interview here. Is it her first or second? Maybe it's her first. I'm trying to remember now. She had two that I recall. Anyways, this was what they were basically showing in the court today.
Yeah.
So, let me see if I can turn up the volume on it. Oh, that's good. Okay, I guess I'm showing the part where it went to break. Hold on, let me take this off the screen. What happened there? Did I pull up the wrong clip? Whatever. I think I pulled up the wrong clip.
Okay.
Anyways, we'll just watch this for a second.
And at any point in time, and let's be clear, these casings in States Exhibit 57, why are they noteworthy?
Because they contain the same head stamp and then same.
I don't know how I got the wrong clip, because I was watching it earlier. Anyway, we'll go to this part.
The document is still hearsay?
What document is it? And counsel approach?
We're not going to watch too much of this one. To be honest with you, I was watching this. Could have cared less really about the Kohberger thing that was going on. I was watching a little bit of this, but I was watching this for a few hours. And she did, hold on a second. I gotta, Let's go to my YouTube history. Are they still talking on there? Or did I hit pause? No, they're still talking. Okay. Let me go to my history for a second. They can look at. Hey?
Oh, you can hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay.
Is this the one I was watching earlier? Okay, yeah, I think. Here, let me go down to stop screen for a sec. And is this one I got up? Pretty sure that this is one I had, but okay. This is kind of like her thing.
You guys have the pool guns
Why is it?
down there, and then they go. Yeah, I don't know.
It's hard to hear what
It's
the
a pretty
lady
good
keeps
distance, and
asking.
then that's why we also didn't want to bring the cart all the way back to the prop truck. So it got left by that time. Yeah. Nothing was different about it after. No, and we had done this a couple of times especially on like big shooting days and everything. Just because we are out there like in the boonies with like sticks, snakes, all that crazy stuff, and big rocks. So yeah, a few times we just left it there during lunch. Who all uses that cart? Just me, Sarah, Nicole, props. That's it. So. Yeah, that's it for the cart. Usually people will try to set their stats on there, and I quickly shoot them.
Okay, you know what? For anyone that's watching this that doesn't know what this is about, obviously, this is about Alec Baldwin in the movie Rust. And it's, whoops, what the heck? Did that start playing? All right, let me cut this one out. Okay, and so Alec Baldwin has his own trial that the jury selection was being held at some point, I think this week or last week or whatever it was. And so this is her part of it. So it's basically the fact that that she's in this interview and they're asking her about all like the bullets and stuff because she's what they would call the armor. Is that's the word?
Yes, the armorer.
Yeah, the armor.
Yeah. Oh, 1 second. Okay. Okay. And so Helena Hutchings is the one that was killed. And then another guy, I think his name is Joel Souza.
Yeah.
And it's
I'll be
like,
right back, by the way.
Okay. And like, I believe it's like the one bullet, like hit them both in a sense. But anyway, so the question is about, you know, Alec Baldwin is charged. She's charged. Now she's the armor, so she's the one that's in charge of the bullets. So it's to me, this is going to be about the due diligence, about the responsibility there. You know, listening to her in this interview, kind of talking, you know, it's like she's explained, like basically, if from what I gathered, is that there's all these different bullets, in a sense, and there's your dummy bullets that you use, and the ones with the holes in them, and the ones that have the rattle sound to them, and then of course there's the live round. Well, obviously, it was the live round that killed Helena and injured Joel Souza, I believe his name is, and it's been just a shitload of information really about these bullets. Now, it was so funny though, when you watch her in her interview, when you first start watching it, it's almost like she's like just kind of answering right away. But when it gets around to the time of when the actual kind of shooting happened, it's almost like the memory of her seems to fade a bit. I seem to notice just when she was talking. Now, the way she's basically saying was that she was supposed to get told that when Alec Baldwin comes in so that she could check the gun again but she was never told that Alec Baldwin had come into that church thing or whatever. And hence, you know, this happens. But the bottom line is like, how did those live rounds get there? So from what I'm kind of seeing here is that she seems to have brought in this box of ammo from another set that she had been working on, like on another movie. And so I think that's going to be like the gist of it, that so she might not have been in that room, but it was her responsibility with the guns. And she keeps bringing up this lady named Sarah as well. So her and Sarah seem to be the ones, like she's the, I think, main armorer person, but her and Sarah seem to be the ones that are in charge of the guns in a sense there. But obviously Sarah's not on trial. It's, you know, Hannah here. Hannah and Helena. I'm trying to not twist my tongue on this one. They shouldn't be using guns that can even take real bullets. Well, I mean, you know, I mean, they're replicas of real guns. I don't know. Bottom line is there shouldn't be any live rounds on there. And at first, I kind of thought that perhaps it was the live rounds were on scene because of the fact of that maybe they were just doing some target practice out there in the wild, wild west, you know, desert area there. That wouldn't be uncommon, that whatever. But they asked her that in this interview, and she's like, absolutely not. You know, and apparently the box that had that live bullet, according to Hannah here, Sarah had said that half that box was full of live rounds. Now, also, there had been multiple accidental discharges, she calls them, you know. So she was basically trying to say that one happened here, or this one actress or whatever, you know, like basically almost like that they're mishandling them, and that there was this one, and then all of a sudden, no sooner did 10 minutes go by, then there's this other discharge over here. And she was saying, you know, like that she was really pissed and stuff like that. But anyways, it's kind of like a long, boring trial in a lot of ways. But to me, the gist of it is she was in charge. She's the armorer. And it's going to come to fruition, I'm sure, that box that was brought in from another set she had worked on, you know, is going to be like the accountability factor, because those bullets should have not have been. And it's funny when this detective lady is talking to her, how the detective lady says, well, yeah, you know, like the whatever the company is, the Smith & Wesson or whatever, they just sell the part. They don't actually sell the bullet. They just sell the piece of it. And she's kind of going like, I didn't know that. Like, for someone that's an armorer, it seems like she didn't know a lot about these different bullets. Because apparently they kept showing this one with the JS signal or symbol on it, but there was like a bunch of other symbols on there as well. Right. It came from another movie set. Why the hell had live rounds? Right. And so to me, it's one of those things like, we'll see how it plays out. But I personally don't feel like Alec Baldwin, like if he does get charged, then he does. But I don't feel like the accountability really should be on him. When somebody's in charge of guns and stuff like that, like that's your job. That's why you are there, you know. And if you are the one that brought live ammo onto the set, you know, she's going to do some time, whatever time that is, because it's deemed as accidental. And I remember listening to this, whether it was on court TV or whatever, that it's deemed as accidental, not accidental homicide, as accidental. So she can only do so much time, and it's not going to be a lot of time, because there was no, like, it's not like there was malice, that it was intentional, like this. This is about being reckless and careless and not doing your due diligence and stuff like that, because that's what it was labeled as accidental. I don't think that Alec Baldwin is going to do a lick of time. Charmaine?
No.
Or Aspen, what do you like? I'm just I'm not doing a very good job of it because it's just repetitive stuff about it. But the gist of it was that she brought in these live rounds from another set, and she's acting like I don't know where this stuff came from, you know.
I think
really,
you're right, but and I had the same idea, and I had said the other night that I don't think Alec Baldwin did anything wrong, but I was listening to probably Court TV, if I'm being honest, but there was a lawyer on there who was saying that there's no way that by letting go of the cock without putting it all the way back and just kind of letting it go and let it flat back, that would be enough force to fire that bullet. So there might be a discrepancy there. It'll depend on what science and the experts say about that particular gun to see if he actually did pull the trigger, because everybody knows you don't point a loaded firearm, let alone have your finger on the trigger.
Yeah.
You don't know for sure that it's loaded or not. So I didn't change my mind, but I did open my mind a little bit to maybe he did screw up,
Right. Well,
she did not. Sarah did. He's saying, but I heard, but
I feel like was this ultimately Hannah's job to?
Yes.
I don't think Hannah was qualified for this job, and I think that's become abundantly clear. I don't think anyone thinks there was a malicious intent for this person to lose their life.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine what kind of trauma Alec Baldwin's gone through since having done this. And think of the amount of think of how many movies you watch or TV shows you watch where the same thing happens, where someone fires a prop gun, and this case is clearly going to influence any actor or actress's thought process when they're doing that, because they're like, oh my gosh, they don't know whether that's a live round or not. And I don't mean to belittle the life that was lost here, because it's tragic and horrible, but I don't know. I think she was charged appropriately.
Yeah. And I agree with Charmaine on the fact of, you're right. Like, I won't doubt it if he did pull that trigger. Do you know? Like,
He probably did.
Like, I'm sure he did, but he's like, oh, I just did this and it went off. So I agree, Charmaine. There was some, when I was listening to the expert talk and stuff like that, I was like, well, okay, so he did, but at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, still, to me, the responsibility still goes back about who brought the live round in and whose job was it to make sure that it wasn't, because again, even if Alec Baldwin opened up that, let's say there's supposed to be a dummy bullet in there, is he supposed to somehow magically know that that's a live round and not a dummy round? Like, that's the part that, to me, is going to be like the reason why he won't be held accountable, because it's not his job to open up that gun. Because even if, okay, he's saying that there shouldn't have been a bullet in there at all. Okay. But
yeah,
I'm
old gun.
Right. And I'm just saying, but let's say that there was a dummy bullet in there and it was supposed to be in there again, and he shoots it without knowing that it's a live round, because he's not a professional gun person. That's what the professional gun person is supposed to do. And what the hell was those live rounds doing on the set in the first place? It's going to go back to the accountability of her. I don't see him myself. Sorry, Diana. I don't see him myself getting charged with anything. He might. I just don't see it.
I don't either. Now, I do think Diana had a good point when she said, because I do think this case is ripe for a very strong civil case.
Civil case, for sure.
I think, there could absolutely be civil charges be brought for a financial amount against anyone involved in this. But I mean, they're, literally my cousin's husband is a defense attorney in the state of Illinois, and he defended a brother one time. There were two brothers that were on trial separately for murdering their parents. My cousin's husband's client was acquitted because he was able to prove that it was not his bullet that caused the fatal wound that killed the person. And so if someone can literally intend to kill someone but not fire the fatal shot, how then can you put intent on Alec Baldwin for this? I just don't see that at all. Sorry if I probably explained that horribly, but hopefully you know what I meant.
Somebody else brought that up the other day, Ivy, about who hired, and it was Alec, because Alec, the father of Hannah, is like best in the world. I think she said about her dad. He's the best in the world. And Alec, hired her because this is the daughter of that gentleman that probably had worked with on other sets before and stuff like that. I don't see where that has any factor myself. Maybe in the civil suit, I think Travis had said, but it'd be very hard to prove something like that in the criminal side of things. But again, it's Hannah. If Hannah didn't feel, CJK, this one goes to you. If Hannah did not feel that they weren't paying attention and they weren't listening, why would you put a gun in somebody's hand? That's not doing your due diligence for gun safety and doing your job. If you don't feel like they're paying attention to you and that he's always on the phone and is not paying attention, is that his fault or is it for your fault for still putting guns in their hands? Anyways, we'll see how it plays out. Not saying I'm right. That's just my opinion. That's just my personal opinion on it. So I just don't see it myself, him being charged. I think that he did put his hand on the trigger and did that. Because you can see where that little trigger is, and it's not very too far off that back side. You really almost got no place to put your other finger in there, to be honest with you. A little bit, maybe. Guys' hands are more chunkier than females, but I think...
Speak for yourself.
To me, it's not one of those cases of, people do that. When something falls off the shelf at the store and you're like, I didn't touch anything, didn't do nothing, and it just happens. But I think in this case I think that he did probably end up pulling the trigger, that it just didn't go off. They both kind of, or that he kind of seems to be saying there.
Right.
But the thing is that I also think that he probably believes he didn't do anything.
Right. But can I ask the chat really quickly? This trial it's just started. I think this was day 4, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
But if this is something you're interested in, we of course will do another stream on it. Because I haven't followed it super closely, but I absolutely will pay more attention to it if this is something people want to interact with and talk about.
I'm pretty sure that I'll be live streaming when Alec Baldwin goes on trial. I'm more interested in him than her, to be honest with you. Meaning I'm more interested in watching him than her. I have been paying attention to this, for a good chunk of it.
But then they dropped the charges and they brought one more up. It's so I huh?
Yeah, this interests me here. So that's why I'm going to drop this link here. So if somebody just wants to watch kind of this part of her interview, when she's talking, and it's so funny, when you look at somebody in court and they're all trying to be prim and proper, and in here she, F-bombs dropping, and legs up on the chair. It's like watching two personalities, to be honest with you. But anyways, I find it interesting, but I'll be finding Alec Baldwin's like more interesting. I believe that she's going to get some sort of charge because there's definitely the due diligence of that she's the armorer and stuff like that. But anyways, definitely I'll be following it, and I probably will be live streaming the trial, even though those can get really boring. And sometimes it's nice when court TV just does like the main points of it and stuff like that. And honestly, I kind of had a hard time. There is a little bit of judgment here, but to look at Botox lips all day was kind of hard. Seriously, looking at those Botox lips on that red chick all day, I couldn't help it. It's like staring at a zit on somebody's forehead. I just can't help but just stare. And so she was distracting me. Anyways, so that's that case, you guys. And let's see here. Now, okay, this one will go to Audrii about that posting. Audrey Cunningham, of course. So we'll just listen to this. It's 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Father releasing a new statement on behalf of the family.
Another
It is
poor
the
victim.
first time Audrey's father's side of the family is saying anything publicly since the 11-year-old's murder.
Our Marcelino Benito in the newsroom tonight. Marcelino, you received an email from the family today.
Len and Mia, that's right. Audrey's grandfather, Captain Philip Munch, reached out to me today. He says the family is still deep in shock, but they now want to start to set the record straight.
Nearly 1 week since Audrey Cunningham's body was pulled from the Trinity River, her father's family releasing a lengthy statement, their first public comment since Audrey went missing on February 15th. Tragically, Audrey's death occurred at the hands of a monster we thought was a friend, only 10 days after Audrey's 11th birthday.
You guys are going to have to turn up your own
monster
volume.
charged with capital murder is Don Stephen McDougal, who lived in a camper in the family's backyard. The family writes, "We are being attacked and criticized on social media platforms for showing compassion and mercy to this formerly incarcerated person. But our interactions with this person were a result of our faith, which teaches us to give our fellow man a second chance." McDougal has a lengthy dating back to 2001, but his 2007 conviction of enticing a child with intent never required him to register as a sex offender. The family says the system failed them, telling us, McDougal had a history of disrespect for young female children, but it did not show up when we checked the registry before allowing him to stay in our backyard while he tried to start a new life. Had we been aware of what we know now, this man would never have set foot on our property, much less been a part of our little girl's life. Audrey's grandfather sending us new photos of his granddaughter, describing her as charismatic, beautiful, talented, and kind. They say she wanted to become a vet or an animal trainer. She touched so many lives and filled them with joy and happiness that was infectious. Audrey will be missed by a great many people, wrote her grandfather. The family's focus now, laying Audrey to rest in a few days and changing laws to close the loophole in sex offender registry laws.
Her grandfather telling me via email they've been viciously attacked on social media. They're hoping that by starting to comment publicly, that starts to die down. At some point this week, he tells me they plan to do interviews and answer questions in person. Back to you.
All right, Marcelino, thank you for the update from the family. A reminder, the public is invited to a visitation for Audrey that is this Friday at the First Baptist Church in Livingston from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Funeral and burial are private, it says.
Yeah. So, can I start this?
Yeah.
I never like to say anything. I mean, the pain that the parents of Audrey must be going through is unimaginable. And I can't imagine what they must be feeling. But it takes a lot for me to be able to have to speak against a grieving family. And in this instance, I have to look at the actions that I've seen the family take from the get-go. One, among defending their decision to allow the interaction with Stephen McDougal to this little girl and the accessibility that he was provided to this child. I think that it's completely bullshit that they ever would have checked the registry. I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
I don't doubt for a minute that they feel everything that they're saying now, but I think that it's all a public relations attempt to save face in the light of things that have come to fruition. Meaning, these parents were friends with this man. They knew who this man was.
Mm-hmm.
They may not have known the extent of his depravity, but they knew who this guy was, and they gave him access to their child. And he brutally and tragically murdered this little girl. And for them to now act like we knew by the look on his face that he was guilty is a slap in the face, in my opinion, to the memory of this child, because it's them trying to save their own asses as far as accountability for this. And it's hard for me to say that because my heart breaks for these parents. They lost their child regardless of their actions. They lost their child, and I know that they're probably horribly affected by that, and they're in pain. But they're not innocent. And I felt that.
Heck no.
I have felt that since before they even found her. Because, I mean, if anyone remembers when we first started talking about this case, I kept mentioning, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. Like, someone doesn't have this access to a child like this. Like, there's something missing. And we now know that, you know, what that access was. And it was apparently, you know, it was complete and full access to an 11-year-old little girl, that this guy was able to do whatever he wanted to. And I'm sorry, I don't buy their post-mortem disgust at the person that committed this crime, because they knew who he was. Whether they're willing to admit it or not, that's part of their own grieving process. But the signs of who this person was were there.
Oh. Yeah. Charmaine, you got thoughts on that one?
I do, but I'm getting sick and tired of turning this mic off and where my phone is. I don't like this whole no power thing. It sucks.
And your hair's up instead of down now?
Yeah. I just figured, you know what?
I feel like you're in your pajamas.
What?
Are you in your pajamas?
Yeah. Always. My pajamas here when I'm with you guys, but no, I call complete and utter bullshit on that statement. Yeah, they did not expect him to do what he did to their daughter, but hindsight is 20/20, and you cannot make those kinds of mistakes when you have children. I mean, I know what it's like having somebody who your kids seem to connect with and they get along so well with them. I can understand that, but I keep going back to the type of person this guy is, and he would have been proud of his criminal record and proud of his assaults and stuff. And you can't tell me that he wasn't bragging to at least his buddy, her dad. And that's not the kind of person, even if your kid looked up to them or whatever, that's not the kind of person that you would entrust your child to. So, like I said, regardless of what they're feeling right now because they miss their child and they weren't expecting that to happen, the accountability has to lie on them beyond him for, his horrible crime. But
Mhm.
yeah, exactly, Sharon. He probably showed her attention. I don't doubt for a second that he was her favorite person, or however you put that. But
Yeah.
if you watched, I don't know if you guys brought it up or not. I had to go and I grabbed a pickle. Oh, I ate a pickle.
You see a pickle?
I did. I ate a pickle. So I don't know if you already brought it up, but the Nancy Grace thing when she was interviewing the biological mom, it was very touching and heartfelt. But she even knew, she even had a sense of this guy, and she'd never really met him. So you can't tell me that Dad and Grandpa had no idea that this man could be dangerous.
Oh, I know. Honestly.
Yeah.
They can minimize it all they want, but
They can, and they tried, and a lot of people feel bad for them or whatever, but I'm not one of them. Sorry, Diana, my mind is officially closed. Put the closed sign on it for this one.
okay. So for the last, well, not the last one, second to last one, we'll go to that, Kohberger case here. And I don't really feel like I need to play anything. The prosecutor's up, sits down, the defense lawyer's up, sits down. It's all about, when the trial date is going to be set, and about, obviously change of venue and stuff like that. And anyways, you guys were paying attention to it more. If I'm not mistaken, is it pre-trial date or something like that is May 14th or something like that? May 14th. And
Yeah, I think it's May 14th. That's the next that's the next hearing date. And then September 6th, I think. Charmaine, remember you were supposed to remember this.
So September 6th is the state's
discovery deadline.
Right. And then January something is the defense's discovery deadline. What's funny?
No, I was reading Diana's comment. I wasn't laughing. It made me tremble just a little bit.
All in all, I think that we had a pretty good discussion back and forth, if you want to call it a discussion back and forth, about the so-called parallels between the Kohberger hearings and just the proceedings in general to what's happening in Delphi right now. And you can really tell in this Kohberger proceedings or whatever that they're really trying to work together. They're trying so hard not to disparage the other side. It's just a shame, in my opinion, that they can't get it together and do the same in Delphi.
What are you talking about?
Right?
I've literally never seen a case where there are two sides more unified than Delphi. I mean, I've seen literally no one complain about anything between the prosecution, the defense, the judge. There's really been no indication of any turmoil or anything with Delphi.
That's funny. But like Ann Taylor, I'm not a fan. She is the epitome of delay. But and at $200 an hour, I can't say I wouldn't do the same thing. But you listen to her, anytime that she says something, I'm still waiting for this, I'm still waiting for that, I ask for this, and then I have to ask again. And she will actually say, I'm not blaming the prosecution. I know that they've got their own hurdles. And, she's actually trying to say, I realize it's not their fault. But whereas in Delphi, we've got this pissing match back and forth.
Yeah.
Wait, and so refresh my memory really quickly. So Richard Allen was arrested October
31st.
28th.
28th.
28th, 2022. Brian Kohberger was arrested December 28th, 2022. Nick McClelland had a discovery deadline of November 1st, 2023. Ann Taylor now has, or no, the Latop County prosecutor has a discovery deadline of September 6th, 2024, because they can't get all of the discovery handed over to the defense in the Brian Kohberger case. I mean, that's like almost a year longer just to turn over the discovery in a case that was not 7 years long.
And that's, to me, that is exactly why I keep saying that she's delaying, and she's either delaying or she needs help, because you can't tell me that, because she's even saying that once the defense's discovery deadline, like, she doesn't even want the trial set for March of 2025. She's pushing June 2025, and the judge is having it. So why aren't they reviewing what they have now, so that when they're getting more discovery as it goes forward, then she's not bombarded with however many terabytes? Do you know what I'm saying? It just seems like
Have you seen like a lot of public outcry about the defense team in Brian Kohberger's case not receiving all the discovery yet? I've seen not one person complain about it.
No, and to be fair, there's a lot of Kohberger supporters out there.
Yes, there are, but yet I've not seen one of them complain about that.
It's surprising to me that there are that many. Like,
I agree.
I don't know,
but I find that interesting, and that's what we've talked about this earlier. So I'm not being shady when I say, I thought like an interesting idea for a live in the future would be to really go through Delphi and Idaho and look at the parallels between the fundamentals of both cases and the differences then that have played out in the court parts of the case. Because I've seen a lot of similarities in some ways and a lot of differences in the responses to those differences.
But
whereas like in Richard Allen's case, people have crucified Nick McClelland, saying he didn't turn over discovery, that Judge Gull is complicit in the defense not receiving discovery. Yet we learned today that Brian Kohberger's defense team has very little discovery according to them, and they're not going to get more until the deadline is September 6th, several months from now. And yet I'm not seeing any public outcry for the fact that that defense team has not been handed over all of the discovery. Yet with Richard Allen's case, it was like a travesty that he was being that he was being horribly held in these circumstances, and that the discovery was being withheld from the defense team, and that as soon as they got it, they were gonna file for a 70-day speedy trial, which no one has yet to do. And I'm not being shady when it comes to Rosie and Baldwin. I'm just it's illuminating to me that these two cases are existing at the same time, and the reaction to them is so differently. Is so different to so many people.
So would it be fair to say then that if pretend that Brian Kohberger comes out with an actual alibi that doesn't include I was driving around by myself, and there was supposedly some kind of exculpatory evidence in his discovery, and they chose to go with some sort of outlandish but reasonable third-party defense strategy. I think the outcry for all of these things would be a little bit louder because that PCA was a lot stronger and the case has been handled much more openly.
Wait, could you repeat that really quickly?
No, probably not.
So wait, so what are you? So are you saying if you're saying if you can put a burden on the defense to prove that Brian Kohberger's alibi is that he wasn't just driving around, but that he was doing something else?
I'm not using the word burden. I'm saying that if the circumstances of the proceedings were the same, whereas there was a third-party defense, and if there was something in discovery to say that was going to supposedly back up this third-party defense, and there was something that the public or whatever was grabbing onto as exculpatory,
right?
Like a Frank
Odinism.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying reasonable or whatever, but you know what I'm saying. They're claiming that they've got evidence and discovery from law enforcement that's going to prove the point. That captures, I think, the attention of the masses. And Brian Kohberger doesn't have any of that. And the fact that Delphi is done mostly in the dark, kept away from the public, and so now we've got YouTubers speculating, and a lot of the rumors out there are probably false, really. But that's all we've got to go on because everything's being done in the dark. But if the circumstances were similar, I think you'd probably see the same kind of outcry. To
be fair, then if you were to use that logic, then say if Richard Allen was in fact not at the trails after 1:30 p.m. And the defense could not, I'm not using the word burden, but if the defense could then present an alibi for Richard Allen, say at 2:13 p.m. on February 13th, 2017, it would present a very different case and a very different idea. But that's not been even mentioned in the Delphi case.
And I'm going to I was saying about his alibi earlier to you, Adam, that they've probably got his alibi just about completely fabricated and ready to release to the public illegally. Absolutely.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm just pointing out the similarities and differences in perception in these two cases.
Mm-hmm.
And I do see a lot of similarities in some of the things that are happening in these cases, but I'm seeing a very different perception in the interpretation of how these things are handled. And yes, the attorneys are being much more civil to each other in the Brian Kohberger case than they are in the Richard Allen case.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the circumstances that are taking place in the cases are not so far off, but the way the public is interpreting them and handling them is vastly different. And I feel like people are being unfair in the way that they interpret certain things with one case versus the other. That's all.
The important part to remember too is that the kids that were murdered in Idaho were adults. Really, they were young adults. These Abby and Libby are children. They're little girls.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely a difference in what should be or could be released to the public. Even though I think it's still not public enough, I understand why certain things are different in those cases.
Right. And nothing, and to be clear, nothing that I'm referring to or mentioning or talking about has anything to do with case details being released.
Yeah. No, me either. And I think that, I don't think the judge is going to go for a June hearing. I think that he's going to try to stick to March. Maybe.
Do you think the Idaho Supreme Court is going to take up the cause
I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, what was that about?
Well, the defense for Brian Kohberger has, I believe it's been 2 times they've been denied a motion by Judge John Judge to dismiss the please forgive me if I get the wording on this wrong, but to dismiss the validity or in the indictment by the grand jury.
Oh, okay.
And so instead they have filed that the case be heard by the Idaho Supreme Court in relation to the indictment by the grand jury, because they didn't get their way twice in court. So they want the Supreme Court to give the final say on it, which is fair. But of course, we hear Supreme Court and we're like, Delphi.
But it blows my mind that, okay, so it's gone to the Supreme Court, but yet we're still having hearings. We're still filing motions. We're still seeing the case move forward. Whereas
And the judge himself is like, has anyone heard anything?
Yeah, like business as usual, even though there's something like huge sitting in the Supreme Court, but they're still doing their jobs. They're not sitting waiting, on tender hooks, waiting for which case on indictment? The Idaho 4 case. Originally they were going to do what was it called? A preliminary, or I can't remember what it's called, but Travis will know. But the
which case on indictment? Travis, the Idaho, there's a pending matter before the Idaho Supreme Court to dismiss the grand jury indictment for Brian Kohberger.
Right.
Which is kind of a big deal. Imagine for a second.
Especially when you hear the judge then today in court say, has anyone heard an update? If Judge Gold said that, people would have lost their minds.
Absolutely.
And I wonder if they didn't do any actual work while it was up at the Supreme Court was because they thought that the lawyers were going to be reinstated. So Libredo and Scremen decided, well, we're just going to sit back and wait. But I mean, it didn't even occur to me that something could be happening in the trial process, in the proceedings.
Right.
Well, there's pending motions at the Supreme Court level, and here they are. Right. They don't even.
And each state's different. So I mean, I don't know the laws, compared. I don't know Idaho's laws compared to Indiana's, but it's very interesting to see the two kind of playing out side by side.
So Travis, from my understanding, the defense is saying that the jury was given improper instruction on probable cause. And the judge disagreed with them. It's probable cause, not reasonable doubt at that level. And twice the judge denied their motion. And so I
think it was twice.
Yeah. It was like he appealed and he heard it or whatever again. And they made good arguments. He said it was very creative arguments, but it still didn't change the fact of what the grand jury instructions were when it came to probable cause. And the defense was arguing, no, it should have been reasonable doubt would have been the standard.
That sounds like everything I had a professor ever say on anything that I did not study for, but yet tried to BS my way through in an essay report. They were like, well, you had a very interesting argument or story to tell, but you had no idea what you're talking about.
It was something like it was a fascinating history lesson or something.
Right.
Really
that
good.
was fascinating, but you're still full of shit.
Yeah, you're still wrong. cause is not reasonable doubt, and probable cause is what's needed for an indictment, which is every PCA in the history of ever is not reasonable doubt. That is trial, right? Am I wrong?
No, you're always right, Charmaine. You're never wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Are we good? Because I need to keep moving along here. It's 1:41. You guys
Oh
good?
my God, who invited her? Let's go help. Let's go along, Sonny.
Hey, I got a breaking story right here, okay? Escape
Well,
prisoner.
just when Charmaine and I are getting like hot and heavy, you
No,
like
you're
break
supposed
it
to
up.
save that for another live. Remember? You're supposed to say that for another live.
Second time in a row, you've cock blocked us.
It's because we're at the hour and 41-minute mark, and I want to show this quickly. So, in chat, Travis is answering. I mean, I know you guys are talking about the indictment whole thing, and I remember that being discussed, and it was just like, no, it was about, like you said, Charmaine, something like the probable cause, not the whatever. And I can't remember it now because that was months ago back. But anyway,
My little gambler.
Good night, little gambler. Anyways, okay. So I'm gonna play this developing story, and I know it's Fox 29 News, and you should never play Fox 29 News if you're a creator, because it's just literally they're gonna copyright you at some point. Could be tonight, could be tomorrow, but anyways.
Or a month from now.
Search for the escaped prisoner with new video showing the man still in handcuffs shortly after he escaped custody Monday morning. He is still out there tonight, and law enforcement says that they came very close to catching him, Chris.
That's right, Jason.
You know, I like
Marshals actually
escape
had
prisoners.
eyes on Aleem Gordon yesterday afternoon before he slipped away from custody yet again. And now police believe he could be armed at this point, getting desperate and getting help.
New video showing Aleem Gordon with a coat concealing his handcuffs being escorted out of a house on the 2700 block of Hope Street and into a gold Honda that was being driven away. The video captured just minutes after the 29-year-old escaped from police custody Monday morning.
Through our investigation, we have developed information that Gordon has access to firearms, may have mental health issues, and is a known narcotics user. Due to these factors, we are considering Gordon possibly armed, dangerous, and undoubtedly desperate.
U.S. Marshals say yesterday they got close enough to see Borden. Agents got a tip he was inside a home on the 5300 block of Columbia Avenue in Winfield. But when they got there, Borden again slipped away, running down an embankment.
Immediately after knocking, a male matching Gordon's description sprinted out of the back of the residence and jumped down a 30-foot embankment onto the SEPTA train tracks. The male ran north on the tracks, and investigators were unable to cut off his avenue of escape.
Borden is described as 5'6", 145 pounds with a beard and braided hair. New photos of his arm tattoos were also released tonight. Police are hoping for more sightings and help from the public.
See on this?
Also announced tonight, a $2,500 reward being offered for information on Borden's location, a reward that will be...
I'm sorry, did they just say $125 reward?
You'll have to rewind it so I can hear for myself.
I'm pretty sure that they just said that. Hold
But
on.
finally, a reward. I feel.
$1 reward being offered for information on Borden's location.
Be right back.
A reward that will be paid out immediately upon him being in custody. If you do know where he is, his whereabouts.
Hoping for more sightings and help from the public.
Let's listen to that again.
Also announced tonight, a $2,500 reward being offered for information on Borden's location. A reward that will be paid out immediately upon him being in custody.
Pretty sure that
if
was
you
Reno.
do know where he is, his whereabouts, his location, you are asked to call the U.S. Marshal Service. Jason.
Yeah.
All right, Chris.
All right, Chris. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I thought they said $125. I'm like, whoa, that's like a little bit over the top, don't you think? But okay, obviously I gotta wax my ears out, even though they are. But $2,500 reward.
I think Travis is letting us know that he has a condition.
What kind of condition is that?
Apparently, it's called a doubt STD.
That's not very nice. He was contributing to the Idaho stuff, and I think what he's saying is the defense probably found their information in the actual Constitution, maybe, but like just stretched it a little bit to kind of make it fit over what they were.
Right.
I am so sorry, Tony.
Trust me, when I was like 24, one time I thought I had an STD, but turns out I was wrong. It was just a whitehead.
They're STIs now. Ivy wants everybody to know their STIs. Ivy wants everyone to know their STIs.
Yeah.
Those are their STIs.
She would know.
Hold on a second here. Okay. Let me get that one off there.
What's that word again, Sunny? Pedantic.
Oh, pedantic.
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 In a non-pedantic way, Ivy?
Yeah. Yeah. She's being, pedantic. Yeah. That's like our new.
It's my favorite trait in someone.
Yeah. I mean, me and Tremaine literally can never remember how to pronounce it usually, or even remember what the word looks like. But we know it starts with P. And then all of a sudden.
A quite sexy feature.
Yeah. Ivy brought out that whole feature, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Oh, Ivy.
Oh my goodness.
It's funny. That was my main job while I was in college.
Ivy, yes.
My goodness.
Do tell. Yeah. Do you have any stories to tell about that Ivy one day on the live? Yeah.
Bet she does.
Oh my God, that was being. Yeah, there she goes. There she goes.
I have lots of stories to tell.
Yeah. Okay. You guys, the last one here that we're going to talk about is, of course, Laken Hope Riley. Of course, that is the young nurse that had her life taken away by that other piece of shit named Jose Antonio Ibarraz or whatever his name is. And so this is a court TV clipping. It's 19 minutes. I got it on 1.25 speed. But, oh, look at Vinny's face. Ooh. I don't know, Sherman.
Kind of looks like he's spitting.
Well, between the lawyer, with his little tongue when he was hanging out there, and then this, Charmaine, I don't know how you decide how to watch. To be honest with you,
No, Vinny looks like a pumpkin that had a stroke.
Offense to that.
Okay, let me play this.
For joining us. In the state of Georgia, and specifically in the Athens area, there's incredible heartbreak, there is incredible sadness, and there is
Vinny is like
simmering
Frank Maestro with a law
anger.
degree.
And it all involves the murder of Laken Riley. There she is. She was a nursing student.
Sad story.
Think about this. Think about what a nursing student is. It's a young person who is taking their time to learn how to help others and wants to dedicate her profession to helping others. That's what she wanted to do. That's who she was. And she was taken in a brutal, brutal fashion. I want you to take a listen to the sorority president. She was a member of Alpha Chi Omega. And the sorority president spoke about Laken. They had a vigil the other day. Let's take a listen.
Campus is really heavy right now. We're all heartbroken. I want to use this time to tell you about Laken and all she was to Alpha Chi. It is so obvious to me why it feels so dark right now, and that is because we lost one of the brightest lights that there's ever been. This campus and our sisterhood will never be the same without Laken Riley. I take pride in the caliber of women that we have in Alpha Chi. Our sisterhood is so incredibly strong, and I know that together we will get through this. When you were initiated in Alpha Chi Omega, which Laken was in the fall of 2020, you agreed to uphold our values of wisdom, devotion, and achievement. These three words are something that came so naturally to Laken. She showed incredible wisdom throughout her friendships. Many sisters have shared that she was the best listener. She would allow you to ramble on about how your day was or how your life had been lately, and she soaked it up intently. Her wisdom flowed throughout all aspects of her life, as she had an eye for those who were secretly struggling. Another sister shared a story on how, on their first date night as Alpha Chi's, this particular sister was struggling to make friends and to find her place. In front of everyone, Laken embraced her and asked if she wanted a photo. That happened nearly 4 years ago, and it still had such an impact on her. She exuded devotion with each and everything that she did. A devoted Christian, sister, student, daughter, and friend. Whether it was nursing school, being the Alpha Chi banner chair, or the incredible runner that she was, Laken showed devotion throughout every avenue of her life. Doing something halfway was just never an option. Finally, Laken showed achievement as the sister shared that she had more drive than anyone that they knew. She was devoted to making this world a better place, and we have no doubt that she would have been an incredible nurse. It is absolutely earth-shattering to think that the world will never have that opportunity, but the impact that she made within her 22 years was enough to last a lifetime and beyond. We have no clue why things like this happen. I'm the first to question why. I've chosen to change my view of this and to know that we were given these people at this time for a reason. Tell your friends that you love them and never miss an opportunity for a sweet treat, one of Laken's favorite pastimes, and scream the lyrics to your favorite song as loud as you can. Be kind. Catch up with your friends. And strive to be the type of person that Laken was, where sister shared. Even if you hadn't seen her in a while, it was like no time had passed at all. Although the flowers in our house will fade, the visitors will slow, and we will begin classes again, our hearts will always ache without Laken, who was such an integral part of our sisterhood. I want to share a quote that Alpha Chi shares during our recruitment process, and something that we're holding on to tight during this time. Our bond is strong here. It stretches far, it stretches wide, and it lasts a lifetime. Our sisterhood is shared from far and wide, heaven and earth side. And Laken, we will love and remember you forever. LITB, thank you.
If you heard her, but if you looked at the faces in the background, that's where you see even more of the heartbreak and the sadness. That simmering anger I'm talking about, that's coming from a lot of the parents who send their children to that school and are wondering, how does something like this happen? And you know, that anger is pointing in a lot of different directions tonight. I want to go through so you understand where this took place, because I think that's a big part of this story and will be a big part of the trial of this accused murderer. We begin where it's all taking place, the eastern part of the campus of, they call it UGA, it's the University of Georgia, home of the Bulldogs. It's the eastern part of the campus. Now, last Thursday morning, Laken told a friend that she was going for a run, and she was going to go to the intramural fields, and that's the area that she went to, and you can see where the intramural fields are right there. She never came back from that run. Now, next to the intramural fields is a body of water. Lake Herrick is right there. You'll see it just below the intramural fields on the one side and to the side of it there. It was behind this lake where Laken's body was found around 12:38 in the afternoon, just 20 minutes after police started their search. And she was found in a secluded section of the Oconee Forest Park. And police say she was killed nearby and dragged there. We can take a look at Oconee Forest Park is right there. That's the area. So you can see the fields, the lake, and the park are all right next to one another. Now, here's the significant part about the park. There are several dirt pathways that students will commonly run on. And it's here where they say Laken was attacked and killed. And you can see those little pathways in the park, and that's where you would go running. We now know who the suspect is. I'll show you his picture. If you want to know his name, you can look it up. I'm not going to tell you. The charges against this man are malice murder, felony murder, kidnapping, false imprisonment, aggravated assault, aggravated battery, hindering a 911 call, and concealing the death of another. Now, I want to go back to the maps because this is significant and show you where he was living with his brother, okay? The apartment complex. It's the Cielo Azulac Apartments, and we'll take a look at those. We'll have it in just a moment for you, folks. And where these apartments are, very close to the area I was showing you. It's just five-minute walk. Just walk over the train tracks, and you're there on these pathways where Laken was jogging and where others were jogging. So here we are back on the map. And to the left, you'll see the apartment complex right there. You can see how close it is. So that's where he's living with his brother. He had been living up in New York, got in trouble in New York. So, of course, he fled, coward, came down to Georgia, to wreak more havoc. I thought he was here to seeking asylum, but apparently not so. Now, I've got details related to the accusations here from the arrest affidavit. Little pieces that I think will tell us a lot. Let's take a look. Committed kidnapping, abduct, steal another person without lawful authority, and holding that person against her will. Holding her against her will. Aggravated assault. This is important. Assaults with the intent to murder by causing great bodily harm with an object. What was that object? What was that object? Aggravated battery, maliciously caused bodily harm to another by seriously disfiguring her body or a member thereof by disfiguring her skull. Next one also tells you a lot about what was happening at the scene. Hinder a 911 call, physically preventing or hindering another person with intent to cause physical harm from making or completing a 911 call. She was trying to get help. She knew she was in trouble. She knew she was in trouble, was trying to get help. Concealed the death of another, dragging that victim to a secluded area. All right, let's go through some of these details. We bring in my special guest joining us tonight in Jacksonville, Alabama, distinguished scholar of applied forensics, host of the Body Bags podcast, professor of forensics at Jacksonville State University, Joseph Scott Morgan. And I know this one hits you really hard. Joseph, with your connections to Georgia and your connections to college campuses and, you know, being a dad and a grandfather and everything else. From these details that we've learned, what does it tell you about what happened and what evidence there might be to help convict this accused murderer?
I find this language very interesting that you've detailed out. And I think probably, and some people might be shocked by me saying this, but the most interesting piece to this for me is this interference with a 911 call. That goes to a bigger picture, doesn't it? That means that she was alive. That means that she was purposed in trying to make that call, and in some way she was hindered. And so we can frame this kidnapping element to this. We don't kidnap the dead. That's not part of it. You have to be a living person in order to be kidnapped. So there was an awareness on Laken's part that this was going down. That might be rather obvious, but I don't think it is. It's not like he snuck up from the rear and struck her and killed her at that moment in time. There was something going on. There was probably an interaction. She had an awareness, at least enough an awareness to try to facilitate a 911 call. And then, of course, his activities after that, you know, we can kind of begin to understand the curtains part a little bit here, because now we've got this idea of assault, and they're talking about to do grievous bodily harm to her, and this element of disfigurement that we're talking about. Interesting language here. They talk about an object. Well, I guess anything could be a bludgeoning object. We do know that this had to be blunt force trauma. The coroner had said that a few days ago, where that individual had alluded to the cause of death, that it was blunt force trauma. Now we have an object involved. I think that myself and a few of my colleagues roundabout have thought about this and scratched our head, and we were wondering, did he show up with a tool like a hammer or a pipe or a piece of wood? Or was it like the chief had said, or the mayor, I can't remember which one, they talked about this being a crime of opportunity event. When you talk about a crime of opportunity, that is an event where you don't necessarily show up as prepared as someone would have, say, if they had, you know, we've talked about murder kits before and that sort of thing. It's almost like something was at his fingertips that he was reaching for, that he grabbed, perhaps a rock. We don't know, but we do know that she was greatly traumatized to the point where they discuss this in this data that they've released. I don't know that I've seen this kind of wording before, like this, outside of the courtroom setting. I think that this is kind of intriguing here. The one element that's missing here, Vin, and I think you and I could probably talk about this for hours, perhaps. What would have been his motivation to steal her phone? I don't know, to interact with her? No, I mean, the motivation for me that he singled out this diminutive little college student, this young lady. I think it's a sexually motivated event. But yet we're not seeing anything that's indicative of that in the information that the court has released or that the law enforcement personnel have released to this point to allude to some kind of sexual assault. And as time goes by, we're going to learn more. I can guarantee you. I want to know more about the status of her clothing and what they saw. And also one more thing, and I'll be quiet. I'm interested because, they hooked this guy up pretty quickly on charges, Finn. I'm wondering what type of insults he has sustained to his body. Is there evidence of struggle on him? I saw this mugshot that was released of this individual. And, many times what we think about when you have someone that is resisting, you're going to see scratches along the neck, the face, and that sort of thing. And right now, I'm not really seeing that. I wonder, hopefully, I'm hoping that when they did hook him up, that they took good photos of his hands, both the ventral aspect and the palmar aspect, and up and down his arms, Finn, to see if there's anything there whatsoever.
Absolutely. Joseph Scott Morgan, appreciate your time and your insight tonight. Obviously, we'll continue to cover this with you and go into even more detail as we learn more from this investigation. Thanks so much. Let's bring in our think tank. Join us in Columbia, South Carolina, criminal defense attorney and lawyer Lori on TikTok. Lori Murray is with us. In Los Angeles, California, Deputy Public Defender for LA County, Philip Dubé. And in Atlanta, Georgia, criminal defense attorney, former federal prosecutor, Michael Sterling. All right, Lori, I'll start with you. Justice Scott Morgan struck on something I thought was important that we don't really know yet, and how important will it be, which is the motive in this case, or the alleged motive, obviously, as we move towards trial. What are your thoughts there?
I think it's the glaring, absence of this motive that is just the most disturbing of anything, because if not, it's just a random act of violence. If there's no motive, you automatically assume it's sexually motivated, and it's going to be very important, I think. I don't know what evidence they have against this guy. I just know that there's got to be some reason for us to all make sense of this madness.
Philip Dubé, to make the arrest this quickly, my guess is there's a lot of evidence, and including some videos, et cetera, surveillance videos from around the campus, perhaps near his apartment complex as well. From your perspective, what is the biggest unknown at this time?
The motive. We can look to behavioral clues in the evidence itself and in the charging documents, and I just have a sneaky suspicion that he saw her taking her morning jog, and there was nothing nefarious going through his mind at the time, but he found her attractive and maybe even tried to hit on her, tried to strike up a conversation. She kept running, wasn't interested, but he followed anyway, and maybe she got scared. And she was afraid that she was being pursued and took that phone to call 911. And in his mind, we see this so often, Vinny, especially out here in LA with our undocumented clients. They are so afraid of going into immigration custody and being deported that they do whatever they can to eliminate the object, if you will, of their oppression in that moment. It's certainly not a legal defense, but it explains the behavior as to why they would resort to such a violent, hideous act. The thought of going back to their homeland because of a misunderstanding after being drawn or attracted to a young girl is frightening to a lot of our undocumented clients. And I just have a feeling that more and more is going to come out about that. I seriously doubt that this crime was sexually and property motivated, meaning it was not an attempt to rob the girl or take her valuables in any way. I mean, let's face it, what is she going to have on her person during a morning jog? Nobody's going to have anything of value unless there is some type of intrinsic value in the phone itself. But I'll be curious to see
Hello.
what led police to him. I have a feeling it has something to do with her phone.
And let's not forget, he ran away from New York after he got in trouble up there as well. So he knew getting in trouble again. This reminds me of what you just described was the Molly Tibbetts case.
Yes.
The same exact case where man approaches woman, woman wants nothing to do with him, runs away from him, and he's not taking no for an answer, and he gets physical. Michael Sterling, you're in Georgia. Walk us through how this thing's going to play out.
Yeah, Vinny, I was actually in Athens, Clark County Court this morning throughout most of the day handling a separate matter. And it's all anybody was talking about in the community, at the coffee shops, inside of the courtroom. It's all anybody could talk about. So the community is, extremely impacted by this incident. So what will happen next? Obviously, he will get appointed a lawyer. He'll be formally arraigned. Clark County Courthouse, as me and some of the other lawyers talked about this morning, has had some difficulties with their staffing, but I'm sure this case will get top priority. They will do everything they can to bring this case to justice. They'll probably put their best top prosecutors in Clark County on this matter. And what will happen in short order is he'll be formally arraigned. Likely he'll have a bond hearing. Very unlikely that he'll get a bond. One, considering his undocumented status, and then considering the nature and circumstances of the crime. And then I think they will go from there. You'll probably see a trial date within the next 6 to 9 months. I don't think this is one of those cases that they're going to let hang around for 2 or 3 years. I think what you're going to see is probably an expedited schedule on this trial case with the best process.
Okay. Yeah. So, Charmaine, that guy with his eye closed, he looks like a drone. It looks like an AI, like we were talking about before. He looks
Which one?
This guy here. He looks like artificial intelligence.
Oh.
Guy at the very bottom corner. Look at him. He just sits there. He just has this look like a robot, like an AI.
The clueless one that thought that
yeah,
he was just a victim of happenstance. She said no when he got scared.
Yeah, that one.
Wow. So he looks as stupid as he sounds, you mean?
Yeah. Now the governor, I'm not playing it or nothing like that because this live's almost over. I'm getting really tired. The governor did do like this conference thing or this speaking engagement with regards to Laken. Again, just Google it. Governor Kemp, Laken Riley. You guys can go watch that as well. But anyways, it's such a tragic case. And I know like Nancy Grace and I was like, why isn't nobody talking about this illegal immigrant? And it is sad. Yeah.
It's
to
a
be
fair
honest,
point.
like seriously, like a illegal immigrant in, well, look at all the masses coming in now though. And you don't, right. It's like, who knows? Right. So you got this guy here, this, what's his name again? It's Jose Antonio. Ibarra is great. I don't know. It's just such a sad case. Beautiful girl, nursing student, another victim to sadly being on the trails, and which is a sad day. It's an absolutely sad day that you just can't go out, enjoy a nice run, and so, they need those dang necklaces thing that you just press the button, like like help I've fallen and I can't get out,
like a life alert,
like the life alert. They need like one of these things that you put on your freaking chest, so that all you have to do is press the button, pins your GPS there, and sends off an alert to 911, someone in distress. I don't know, it's just so sad when you can't even, like I said, and this is like daylight. I mean, I know that they were kind of showing pictures like on Nancy Grace, like of where they believe she was found. And it was like, there was like this pile of flat rocks that they were basically showing. And I believe like just basically about 5-minute walk is like the apartments from where he was staying at with his brother.
Yeah, I've heard other neighbors say that he would sit outside often, like on the balcony, and so he would see her every time she went out for a run. That's kind of what the neighbors are surmising from the situation, because apparently that's what he did all day, every day. He just sat outside and
He's
watched
just
her.
probably scoping, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's again, it's just such a sad case. At least, I was like I said, I know that we were really hoping that this was Rachel Morin's, perp, as well, just to at least get, you know, before someone else gets killed from Rachel Morin's. But
Hmm.
at least, like they were like on this guy so fast, which is good.
Yeah, they must have like camera footage or something that led them to him.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
But they have camera footage in the guy that murdered Rachel too, so I mean, who knows?
mm,
At least he's not in the public anymore. You can jog in BC. You can't jog anywhere in BC. You have to worry more about cougars and bears.
we have
But
crime there.
still, there's
Heck, there's
people.
this is just as much. Like there's all these like this. What gets me about this is that this isn't like a big, deeply enclosed run.
Mhm.
It's around a lake, a little bit of woods type of idea. It's a very open space for the most part, unlike Crystal Falls there in BC. It's like your typical regular like trail like Rachel Morin would have been on in a sense, where again someone could easily pop out of stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, there's been plenty of people uh, being attacked and murdered on the trails as well, and Canada's no exception.
Well,
Um,
I have to say, like in Alberta, you don't hear about the, I mean, it happens, but
yeah,
you'd have to go back decades to probably find the last one that was actually murdered
yeah,
in this kind of circumstance. That it doesn't really have, there's plenty of crime, don't get me wrong, but just not in this particular circumstance. I guess we've had our own, serial offenders in certain areas,
yeah. And
but yeah,
Vancouver's
Vancouver's huge.
huge, millions of people,
Yeah.
versus in Alberta there. Like it's not even remotely close. Probably all of Alberta makes up just who's in Vancouver,
I
to
would
be
think
honest.
that Calgary and Edmonton put together might
Yes.
come close to the population of just the city of Vancouver.
Yeah.
And your
Yeah.
province is a lot bigger than mine. So that tells
All
you
I
something.
it's just like I said, it's a sad, sick world when you have to keep an eye on your kids all the like everything, right? Whether it's being scammed on the internet,
Yep.
it's just like everything you have to be so
Everything.
careful with. And it's just and I hope that people share that video that I made that's called "Don't Fuck with Trails,"
Hmm.
because it is showing a bunch of different cases about it, and it's just because it's just not safe. It really isn't. Like, sure, okay, you can go out, like look at was it Molly? Look at that father and daughter. And when I say daughter, she's like was up in her 20s there. I can't think of her name, was it? But anyways, she was jogging and her dad wasn't feeling well that day. So she went jogging by herself and then oops, dead, right? Got
Hmm.
attacked. And all the time she goes jogging with her dad typically. But that one fateful day that she didn't because her dad wasn't feeling well. Oh, can you imagine the guilt on that shit? Just
Yeah.
heartbreaking. Only because there was like a lot more stories, um, than just those ones that I put in there.
Hmm.
I mean,
Oh,
they're
it's
in the
so widespread, especially in the US. When I started looking into it after we heard about this and we were trying to see where on
yeah,
the map it was and stuff, and just it was case after case after case. It blew my mind. And not just, like I said, in Alberta where you'd have to go back a decade. I'm talking in the last few months, like these cases just kept popping up, and it was really blowing my mind.
Well,
Just
look
all
at
over the United States.
yeah, and in Canada we can't just go packing. There's no
Yeah.
such thing as just getting a gun and going packing.
Mm.
In the United States, different story. But like again, look at Jane's case there. That woman that's lucky to be alive. If it wasn't for people that were going down the path and came across, heard her crying for help, and only because of that was her life spared. And so good on the people for helping. Too many people turn a blind eye nowadays, it seems. That's what's scary as well, because everyone in their head, to me at least, is my opinion, everyone thinks that somebody either has a knife, has a gun, has something, right? So more people are apt not to, involve themselves. Like I said, when a car alarm goes off, it's like,
You also don't know, like part of emergency preparedness training is because you don't know how you're going to react in case of an emergency or in a situation like that. You have no idea how your body is going to react. You freeze, flee, or flight. Freeze, what is it?
free flight, freeze, fright, freeze, or flight. Those three.
Right. And I mean that's your natural instinct, right? And to be prepared in case of an emergency, you have to have that training so that you're basically training your instinct to react a certain way. But these people, she had martial arts training, so that's probably helped her. But
yeah,
like the men didn't step in. It was the woman with the martial arts training, and this is just what
right.
I'm getting at. We have no idea how we're going to react when we see something, and if we're even going to be able to think to do something. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, she was very lucky. She was very lucky that the right person came on that scene when she did.
And sadly, you can have even all those things. You can have a gun, you can have a taser, you can have this. But if somebody comes up from behind you, and you have no chance because they've literally grabbed you, and you have no chance to do anything with your arms because, like I said, they just creep out of the bushes or whatever. I mean, this
and self-defense training, it's useful. It's definitely useful, and there was a big push for that in the 90s, I know. And it helped, and if nothing else, it gives you the training you need to understand what self-awareness means and what not to do, and where to certain things to look for when you're parking your car. Something as simple as parking your car or going to your car after work at night in the dark or something. You know what I mean? So
I mean, I don't think we're allowed just to have tasers, are we?
no, we're not allowed to carry anything like that. We're allowed to have, and
Bear
I think
spray?
even for bear spray,
Yeah.
if you're not if you're just carrying it,
Yeah.
don't you have to have some kind of a permit?
You know what? We need a can of
Pepper
freaking
spray, maybe.
maple syrup shit. Make them like freaking sticky and shit. So they'll pull out our freaking maple syrup cans. And we'll stab a thing into the tree, being like, "Shh, there you go, buddy." Yeah, it's not funny, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's
and yeah, I was listening to a Crime Beat podcast this morning, and she's a local to Calgary where I grew up, and she covered a case from when I was a little girl, and the little girl that it was about was my age when this happened. It was a big deal in my house. I remember my mom was paranoid, and it stuck with me. I had nightmares when I was a little girl about this case. And it actually carried through to when I was in college, and one of the instructors was a former Calgary police officer, and he discussed that case, and we saw crime scene photos of that case. But anyways, that's just a trauma. But the guy that did it was also a serial rapist. And that's what he would do. He would go up behind these women and almost bear hug them.
Yeah.
And he knew exactly where to grab them, like on their body, and like on the road or whatever, so he could quickly pull them into a bush or whatever. Nobody ever saw anything, but he knew exactly what he did, and he got away with it for years until he killed this little girl. And they found fibers and stuff, but I mean, this stuff has been going on forever. And back then, they were talking about self-defense classes, but there was never any talk about. That's kind of when the stranger danger stuff was first coming out. But
Yeah, stranger danger.
yeah.
Anyways,
Mhm.
I feel sorry for people who can't defend themselves. Makes my heart just ache. At least here you can arm yourself, some kind of chance. You know.
And that's what bothers me the most about kids being the victims, because they don't have the physicality to defend themselves, even if they had the confidence, you know, and the knowledge to defend themselves. They can't physically do it. These people are monsters. These parents are monsters.
Yep. Anyways, you guys, I want to end the live. I'm getting really tired, to be honest with you. It's been quite a bunch of cases talking about today. But and so before we get going, you guys, thank you guys, of course, for joining the live, and Aspen and Charmaine for your gifts memberships. Is there anything else, like on anything, any case that you want to say, or just whatever last thoughts type of thing?
Not really. I'm sorry everything was so messed up with my camera and my microphone and stuff today. I'll try to get it sorted out for
Yeah,
tomorrow. I don't know.
you should really apologize. I was embarrassed by your unprofessionalness.
You guys shut
you
up
know
and
what?
show your face.
I feel like, Charmaine, if you want to come back on this stream, you're probably going to need to get 50 memberships. But
I gave 10 the other night and nobody said anything. Nobody even thanked me.
I wasn't
That's a
even
lie.
here. Okay, ooh, I was.
That is an
Wait,
absolute
that's
lie.
so cringy. I wasn't even here.
I was. Charmaine, how do you say that? How do you say that? I absolutely thanked you. And I read everyone's names that gets them. Where were you? You go back to that live, Missy, and then come back and say you're sorry.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah, your bad is right.
You know what,
know.
Charmaine? When you come back and you give 50 memberships and you promise to be a good girl, I'm just kidding.
Rick Astley might like
Wait,
you.
Charmaine, can you smack me real quick?
Yeah. Subscribe. Membership. Hold on.
Feel that?
Thank you.
I'm just in shock and horror right now. I can't believe Charmaine just said that. How are you not listening to that live? You know you always.
Diana, I was kidding. Anyone that's listening, Charmaine likes me being mean to her.
I live for abuse. That's why I'm in therapy right now.
Which is why I also love Charmaine. She's just as mean to me privately.
Well,
that's right. I play the victim in public, but really.
Let's just be honest. After we saw Bob Motta get constant 50 memberships, like I think there was like 3 back to back, the jealous ran high on that. I was like, so Charmaine's our only hope for ever seeing that number. You know, Travis, Mr. Lawyer, there is not going to whip out 50 memberships for people. It's probably the richest dude in here. Where's Cordy? Cordy.
You know what? Like, if I thought for 1 second that YouTube wasn't going to take 30% and it wouldn't take you a month to get it, I'd probably do more. But it's just like, what the? Like, why don't I just send you money? You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's why people always promote their Venmos and PayPals or coffee apps and stuff like that, because it's like, you know, YouTube takes 30%. So when I see someone donating $100, I can't help it. Not here. Well, no, Cordy has. And I think Copper Horse instantly, I think there goes 30% right to YouTube, you know? But the thing is that honestly, a lot of people just like to see their names up in the thing, right? It's kind of like
that's
when
not me. That's not why.
No,
I'm
that's
doing
not
it,
you, and
know
that's
that,
not
right?
some people. But for the most part, you know, it's kind of like YouTube's way. I mean, of putting their name up to show that that person donated. Granted, they take 30%, but that's just. I mean, I think it's kind of like a loan shark thing, but That's the price of doing business with YouTube, right?
And I remember I did a GoFundMe for my brother when he was going through cancer, because we were trying to get special treatment stuff. And I did a GoFundMe and I raised quite a bit of money, but I can't remember how much, but they also took a percentage. Like it was like 10% or something like
For
that. I
who?
can't remember.
Oh, GoFundMe.
GoFundMe. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that they take like I remember seeing it. It was like a little good chunk. Like I
Mm-hmm.
remember if it was 11% or something like that, or
It was
it was,
something because I
it was a good
remember
chunk.
thinking like, well, like
Yeah.
you do realize that this is for cancer treatment. Like I guess it is what it is, and I should have read the small print, but I was a little bit surprised.
No, and you know, I mean, bottom line is, right, people don't, for the most part, most of those things like GoFundMe, like they're there to make a profit. They ain't there to, you know, and all those other ones. Like they're just not hijacked to like YouTube for 30%. But
Yeah.
you know, like can you think of, like just think about $100,000 GoFundMe, and that's
Yeah.
like cha-ching to,
Well, you know, somebody's getting rich.
well, and
Nothing is free
that's
anymore.
exactly it.
Mhm.
Oh, hugs are free, kisses are free. There we go.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Rumble. I keep thinking of Rumble too, to be honest with you. Rumble is like one, like there's a few competitors to YouTube, but Rumble doesn't have all these restrictions, you know, that YouTube does. It
And what's
basically Rumble is like a Twitter.
Kick? Kick is a live streaming thing, isn't it?
Kick is another one as well. Yeah.
Oh, did
You
you
know,
say wait, Kick? Isn't that the one that that Keegan Klein was on?
Oh, maybe. That's what
Kick. Yeah.
I got a gifted membership
Yeah,
to
that was one of
Publicly
the
Buzzed, and he's always on Kick.
yeah, Kick is one of the apps that Keegan Klein used, or Anthony
Really?
Schatz used, I should say.
Interesting. But isn't that a live
KIK,
streaming? That's
right?
interesting. I don't.
oh,
I have no
yeah,
idea. I've never.
KIK. Yeah.
I've never gone, but anytime Publicly Buzzed does a membership thing, he's always like, "Come see me over on Kick." I've never gone, but
Yeah. And the thing is that there's going to be a day. Well, I don't know, like YouTube and Walmart, you know, in a sense, remind me of the same type of thing. Like when you got these overpriced stores, people are going to keep going to Walmart, you know, because they're like the big entity. It will take a lot of years and time before it ever changes, if it ever changes, that YouTube doesn't monopolize the streaming area. I mean, other ones will grow, but not so sure. Like it would have to take a lot for, you know, like it would have to be a lot for people to kind of go, you know what, YouTube did it. See you later, you know, because they really are the monopoly of, you know, live streaming. You know, people at this moment they don't go, you know, like they hear a Rumble, they might hear of Kick, but they're going to go to YouTube still for the most part, you know. But there still are a lot of people, like, meaning I keep thinking about setting up an account on Rumble or Kick or something like that just for the sake of it, you know. But that would require time and energy again, you know, to sit there and try to do that. So I talk myself out of it each and every time. Oh, Mr. Beast. Damn,
wow.
Mr. Beast.
That's the only one of all of those streams that I even heard of before. That's crazy.
Yeah. Love Mr. Beast. You know, I mean that kid started at, I think it was like 14 or whatever it was. And then he literally sat there and would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up down like 100,000. You know, that guy has earned his dues. And I love what he does. Like it's his money to do with what he wants. But that guy got some major income. And then he has his Beast philanthropy, which I love, when he helps kids with blindness or a new leg or different eyesight, you know, different things, right? And then he has like Mr. Beast like reaction channels as well. But I love the philanthropy one because that's when they go around and use like their money, and a lot of it's donated. And then he has like you know, some really nice sponsors as well, and they go around helping, you know, give kids or places around the world where they don't really have access to water, you know, and set up schools and different things. Anyways, I love watching stuff like that. I mean, granted, he spends like millions an episode. Adam owes me 15. Anyways, you guys. Okay, so we'll end it off on the note that Charmaine's been a member for 15 months, and Adam owes me 15 Taylor Swifties. Oh, Diana had to get in there. Love this. Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody else want to get in theirs? I think you guys get what, one free one a month to do that.
Oh.
What, Adam?
Just so I. Oh.
Good fight. Keep talking. Go ahead.
Are you ready for it?
No. What? Are you going to do yours now?
Maybe not.
Oh, you don't know how to do it?
No, he's looking up Taylor Swift lyrics. I'm seeing if he can remember my songs, my jams when I'm going through stress during the day.
Well, I'll just let you know what they are.
You're gonna copy and paste them in chat?
Yeah, I'll just be like, Charmaine, this is what you want to hear. Or do you want your own opinion?
I don't like having my own opinion.
That's what I thought.
That's why I want a boyfriend. I'm tired of having my own opinion.
That's what I thought.
You tired of conversing with yourself?
Where's my like anniversary thing? It's not there.
You're so disorganized. Oh.
Whatever.
TikTok, TikTok, TikTok.
I can do this whenever, so it's not a big deal. Diana, that's awesome. 15 months. Thank you so much, Diana.
She's right up there on Charmaine's butt there.
Yeah, and Aquarius. Psychics are definitely not an Aquarius anywhere in this bunch.
We're Cancers. Okay, Charmaine, what's your sign again? No, you're May. You're Taurus. You're Taurus.
I'm Taurus. Through and through. Ugh, nothing.
Yeah, May 19th, Taurus. Stuck in my head now, didn't it? I'm happy to be here. Only you guys and Tom's channel, paid member. Thank you, Diana.
Oh, Diana, thank you so much. I talked to Tom earlier today.
Did you? Salute.
I did. And I was just telling how much I appreciate his humor and his common sense. We didn't talk about any cases. We actually talked about Survivor. Because he's a big Survivor fan and I'm a big Survivor fan. And it started tonight. So if anyone watches Survivor, then the season premiere was tonight.
Oh my God. How many seasons are we at now for Survivor?
46, I think.
Crazy, right?
Crow.
So
like I gave up on that in probably the 20-something area.
Oh, I love Survivor. It's always been like my favorite show. And it's actually Tom's favorite show too. And he did. I didn't know that until today. And he was like, "Oh wait, you watch Survivor?" And I was like, "I've watched every season." And he said, "I never know whether you're kidding or not."
I
was like, "I'm not kidding. I watched every season."
Yeah. Okay. So is that before or after you guys sent each other D-pics? Just asking for a friend. Yeah, lies.
It's not my style, but I love Tom. But
that's a lie. You
only as a friend.
You were gonna send Charmaine some, or
well, no, I'll send Charmaine some, but no, Tom and I love Tom. He's a good guy, but he's just a friend.
Right. Actually, he loves Mariah anyway.
Right. I can't deal with that.
Anyways, Swifties. Gonna call it a night. Thank you guys, and thank you to the members, thank you to the mods, thank you to Aspen and Charmaine. Go back and watch that live, Missy.
I can't remember which one it was, but there was one that you messaged me afterwards. I'm so sorry, I forgot to thank you.
No, that's not true. Okay, so you misinterpreted that message. So what it was I had said thank you for that whole thing. I read everyone's names, but at the end of the live, I usually like to, reel off anyone that has did a super chat or a membership or something like that. So at the end of the live, is when I forgot, and that's why then I brought it up on the next live, because I forgot to say it at the end of the live, but through the live when you did it. So yeah, come at me. I'm only a hop, skipping, and jump.
I always forget to start, like, you know, because when someone gives a donation like that, I always forget to star the comment, because then it saves it until the end of the live, so you can go through
Is that
all
how
of them.
it does? Is
Yeah.
that how it works? I
Yeah,
was wondering how
if
Bob
you
Marley-
click the three dots and you click star comment,
Oh.
it saves it. Like, and so then you can go back at the end of the live and pull them all up.
Okay, because I was wondering, I kept going, like, because
Yeah.
you know, Bob Motter was a noob, and then
I always forget too.
yeah, and he was doing a few things that I'm like, wait, what? How are they doing that? I'm like, how are they waiting till the end and then showing them all?
Yeah.
Like, what option? I was even looking around for it. Oh, is that why? I've never
Yeah.
clicked that star.
You just click star comment, and then you can go back to it at any time.
Oh,
that's so interesting.
and how do you go back to it? I see.
Yeah, because and then because no one outside of no one outside of you or I who has backstage access can see the starred comments until you pull them up on screen.
Gotcha. Is that how? So obviously, I'd never played with that star thing, because I'm like, well, what am I going to say? Like, I didn't know it had anything to do with that, and I was curious how he did that. And so yeah, I was kind of looking for it, but sometimes when you Google things, it's like you don't even know what
You
to
just
type
you
in.
just have to remember whenever someone donates to hit the star comment, and then it'll save it up there.
Yeah, gotcha. Oh, look, Charmaine.
But I blocked Charmaine's from ever being starred. Charmaine's like, I don't have to give any. Don't worry, mother effer.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well,
so
not just that. Like, I'm not clearly not here for notoriety.
Yeah.
Put up with so
Well,
much
obviously,
abuse.
you were pouting a minute ago because I forgot to say it at the very end.
I wasn't pouting.
I
I'm
felt
just
pouty.
here to listen to chat tell me how great my voice is.
Anyway,
that's so
well, I'm
silly.
glad Adam said that though at the end of the day, because I was wondering how he was doing that. I'm looking around going, where's this option?
If Sunny only ever listened to me more, she would probably know more.
Perhaps. But
He's just on a roll today. I think you should ground him or spank him or something.
yeah,
Hey, I mean, Monday night you were like, "Hey, you take control," and here I am 2 days later, still riding that wave.
Oh, hey. On a more depressing note, Lacey, if you're still here or if you're not, I know you said you're having a bad day, et cetera. So, I'm not sure if you're still watching the live or if you were after, whatever. But anyways, biggest hugs. If you ever need to message me, you can message me on the Gmail there, because I'm pretty sure. Do you have Lacey on Messenger, Adam?
No, Lacey's never messaged me. But
Okay.
my email's at the top right there.
Hey. This is a woman thing now. Okay, fine. Lacey does like you more, I think, anyway. So. Good night, Rochelle.
I won't. I can't promise I'll respond.
I'd just like to point out that Lacey said that she chose me because.
Wow.
I can't remember why, but she
You
did
want to take
choose me.
full credit? Yeah.
Yeah. She
Full
said
send.
Good night. Good night, Rochelle.
Yeah. Good night, Rochelle. You guys don't forget to go check out Rochelle's channel if you were not subscribed. Go over there.
I was thinking about I was actually thinking about Rochelle earlier.
You go on, Adam.
It was yesterday. I was, because when you did the reading for me for my birthday back in July.
Yeah.
Rochelle had talked about like what was to come for me in 2024, and she talked about like there being success, but it being more of a podcast. And so I was thinking about Rochelle yesterday, and I was like, into February, haven't started thinking about a podcast.
There's a couple of times because Adam said in 2024 he's going to think of what to do with his channel, which direction he wants to go. Let me put it this way: there ain't no hurrying up a cancer on this one particular one for sure, because Because I too was like, I mean, you still got the rest of the year to prove her right.
Right.
You know,
Like I said, it gave it, it trust me, hey, it put it into my head. So I was like, huh.
I can see it now.
I should really think about that podcast.
Yeah, he's going to be like, Charmaine, do you want to join me on my podcast? Don't tell Sunny anything. Oh, no.
No, don't tell her.
No.
I need a co-host.
I'm not
I think
willing.
neither one of us like to air
Radio
our
silence.
Neither one of us like to be alone in our.
Yeah, I've offered to go on your podcast. I've been denied so far.
You haven't been denied. Stop that.
So far. Anyways, yeah, and we'll just salute ourselves around to each of the channels. You know,
Right.
Tom, you're involved in all of this too. Anyone else? Yeah, we'll just go salute around. Charmaine here, Charmaine there, Charmaine everywhere. Anyways, as for Lacey, biggest hugs. Email me if you need to. I can always give you the messenger through email.
Right.
On
And
there.
Charmaine, if your daughter goes into labor tomorrow, happy leap year grandbaby.
I will let everybody know for sure.
Yeah. So yes. So tomorrow, happy leap year to everyone. It's 29 days. I guess that shit has to happen every 4 years. It's so weird, eh? But anyways, yeah. So one more day after today left of February, and then we move on to March. March forward. March. Travis Williams, you have a great night as
The
well.
eyes of March.
Yeah. Actually, go take off those tight pants, Travis. They're probably keeping your friends. They're probably struggling to come out. To be honest with you,
Diana,
Anyway.
I think that Rochelle is in Oklahoma, if I remember right.
Which one?
Is Rochelle in Oklahoma
Ooh,
or Nebraska?
don't ask me that. Actually,
I think it's Oklahoma.
I
feel pretty confident.
She's 2 hours. I know that it's a 2-hour difference. I know that.
I feel pretty confident about Oklahoma.
Let's say Oklahoma, because and if we don't, we're not psychic.
Right.
Very well.
She should have known not to leave.
Now watch, we'll end the live, and then she'll pop up going Oklahoma.
She's the one that was like, gotta go. So she should have known not to leave if that question was going to come up.
Question. You're right, actually. I think that's a good one, actually, Adam. Get your ass back in here, psychic sleuth, if you can read my brain.
Arizona. Is it Arizona?
Is it Arizona? Shit. And you know what, Adam? I think Sharon Parker is right. I think it is Arizona.
It could be. Sharon Parker's usually right.
Yeah. Even when she's wrong, she's right. Right, Charmaine?
That's right.
Yeah. That's what she said.
What Adam says, the opposite.
Yeah. Hey, it's 9:52. Yeah, husband probably wants to go to bed, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Anyways, love you guys.
I want to go to bed and watch Survivor and think about Tom Webster.
Oh, Charmaine, what did you
Same.
want to do?
I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to think about AI Peter, the lawyer I know personally.
You said Travis? Okay.
Yeah.
And Travis as well. I'm going to think of all the knowledge that I've siphoned from Travis, the lawyer.
Yeah. Travis, I don't want to picture you in a KED. No.
I think about Travis feverishly when I'm Googling to see if he was accurate or not.
Feverishly. I love that.
Yeah. Okay. Later. Love you. Bye, guys.
Okay.
We're
Bye,
going.
everybody.
I'm not